What the hell? We are doing a stream.
Yeah, we're doing a stream. It's been a long time since I've done that, and seems our audio switching is a little bit laggy today for some reason, so that's how it's going to be.
Ooh. Now you do a noise. Oh,
Yeah.
that one was... In case you haven't realized, it is based on how much noise we make, which doesn't mean... See, whenever we're prepping for the show, it'll just be like, 1 second, Matt, I need to check your focus. Could you scream for a second? And then he'll scream, which will trigger his thing, and then I'll go and fix it. It's all very silly. So, welcome, everybody. There's not been a stream in a while. There is a stream now, though, so that's good. Of course, I was away in BlizzCon for a little bit, then Matt was spending some time as our man in Japan, meaning that he brought back a gift for me that I'm not going to be able to show anybody, but it is from my favorite, of course, my favorite anime that, has the best version of YMCA by the Village People. About 7 of you will know what that means.
I think that might be a little bit too obscure for anyone except maybe like 1 or 2.
Well, Menno in our guild will get it.
Yeah, of course he will. Of course he will.
It's definitely not interspecies viewers.
Well, there you go. So it was. No donuts. It wasn't. Don't be crude. Don't be vile. Not at all. Do it, Michael. You card Caligula. Listen, nah. I'd be down for it, but it would be like the last stream we do. For sure. So Macross. No, Michael doesn't have good taste. I'm sorry.
Hey, I watched the Evangelion.
So would everyone else on the fucking planet.
Yeah, and I talked about the last episode with people, and then I watched the movie, and then I got cultured, and then I watched Promare.
Very good.
Promare, very good movie. That being said, I wish they would know how to license music so that I could find it in places.
Yeah, that's how it is. I hope we got VTuber merch visit and listen. No, but also the entirety of all like Akiba. Every time you walk into a shop, it's just Hololive for days before you find anything else. It's kind of weird. It's kind of crazy, to be honest. But yeah.
Yeah. So wow, I'm just taking a look here at Haley on Twitter, who has done a little breakdown of the Game Awards and the amount of time per topic. Winning speeches, 10 minutes. Musical numbers, which of course we love, 13.5 minutes. Award presenters, 26.5. Other presenters, 42.5. Trailers and ads, an hour 28.
Game industry broken then? Game industry broken? Sweet. Fantastic. Just how it was when I left.
What's really funny is there's a quote from 2021 of Jeff Keighley saying that the show was about celebrating developers and the games that they make, which is really funny when literally somebody is eulogizing somebody who died on their team making the game that won the award, and they cut them off and they play them out with music. I think that the Jeff Keighley takedown video I've been wanting to do for a long time is actually there. Because I feel like, what's he called? Game Over Greg or whatever. You know those people who just, they kind of come across as like plastic corporate people. I've long felt that about Keighley and have looked upon most of what he does with frustration and suspicion. I feel like now he's managed to piss off enough people that I can do the Keighley takedown video without ending my career.
Very much so.
At least in the indie space.
You will have noticed that there's a lot of media outlets are just like completely mask off swinging at him recently. So like after that, do you know what I think it is too? He
shows such a profound level. It's right. It's that thing. He shows such a profound level of disrespect for the likes of E3 and stuff. And that's him kind of being like, oh yeah, I know you, the people, also don't really respect E3. So I'm going to continually take the piss out of E3. But then he goes to do his own show, and it is a corporate nightmare hellscape. And it's like, Jeff, this makes you look like a fake plastic person. Are you still the Dorito Pope? And you're like, yeah, still is the Dorito Pope. Just that this time, he gets to rim Kojima a bit.
That's the other part that's interesting, is how much time was dedicated to Kojima. And you go, that would be fair if maybe you were showing off a lot of DS2 or something, but you're just like, here's Overdose. And a lot of that comes down to, OD, which is Overdose on Horror or whatever. But a lot of that is just down to, he's going to, it's going to be basically a human centipede of Kojima, Jeff, and a load of Hollywood losers. So I'm going to call them out of anger because video games are not fucking movies.
And like, at least Al Pacino last time looked like he thought it was also preposterous that he was there.
Yeah. Whenever things are clearly sold out and people have fun, and then like I'm a sellout here, so I'm gonna just be here selling
like
out. People are okay.
Al Pacino with the Al Pacino with the Dunkin' Donuts?
Yeah,
and that really
Dunkachino.
bad. And the Dunkachino. It was what's small. There's a movie. Is that the one with the Adam Sandler where Adam Sandler plays his sister?
Yeah, it's the one that Reddit Media did an excellent video about that I've watched about 30,000 times. Yes, I can't remember the name of it, but yeah.
Yeah, quality stuff. So we do have Warcraft-related things to talk about, of course. There's likely lots...
Jack and Jill, yes, that's it, Adam.
Jack and Jill!
Good shout.
Oh.
Jack and Jill.
I've never watched Jack and Jill, but you know what? It might actually be. Because there's those movies that are... It's a bit like watching... I've watched the middle of the second Avatar movie. Because that's just when it was on in a hotel room thing. Number one, visually stunning, all that stuff. That I all kind of love. The kids are all like really fun as characters. One of them looks like she's high all the time because she's supposed to have this like, connection to the earth, which basically just means she is just spending the whole movie in acid. And then people are like, oh, what about Marine and cool guy Jake Sully? Which you then get to laugh at. It's amazing. So I wonder, like similar how I can enjoy something like that for all of its good and all of its bad. Is Jack and Jill going to be just so joyless that I cannot enjoy like the Dunkachino at the end? Or will the Dunkachino land and be hilarious? That's the question.
Pretty sure it's just a horrible nightmare experience and that's it. Devoid of any, what's the term I'm looking for? Value. Value and artistic merit, none whatsoever.
In that case, if I watch it, will it count as penance and get me into the kingdom of God?
No, because you'll be doing it for a sinful reason, which is one of the. Well, there's lots of sins, and it's one of them for sure. I can't imagine the good Lord went. It's going to be a holy endeavor, and very the penitent behavior. Watching shitty movies for the crack. I don't think that was in his great plan. I mean, who knows? Who am I to
I suppose
judge his ways like? But
the snake probably would try to get you an Amazon Prime Video subscription. Like
fucking right, like absolutely 100%.
Oh, dearie me. So hello, chat. Definitely, I've missed you guys. It's good to be back. Sorry for accidentally playing you along the last while, like thinking I could sort of solo do the show whenever Matt was away. I overallocated myself and was very silly. So in terms of things then, Matt, there's actually, there's quite a lot to talk about. Some of it small things, some of it, I mean, we can do our usual thing because there's a new transmog that you can buy.
Let's fucking go.
And look at this new Prime Gaming reward this month, the Tabard of Fury. Matt, I think we can get a great 15-minute segment on that. Strap in.
Right, you get started. I'll take a wee nap here.
It's also your first time into... Oh yeah, Matt is now a Guardian of the Dream, everybody. Congratulations, Matt.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy to be guarding the dream.
As a balanced druid.
Yeah, as a fucking lizard chicken. Well, I'm not a lizard chicken yet because I haven't unlocked any of the new lizard chickens. And I literally just logged in to play, so I'm still in astral form, which is better because the world set is really quite nice, so I'm happy enough.
Is it true that you would naturally be playing Feral, but our entire raid being comprised of melee has turned you into the chicken?
I'm generally quite open to what I play. My initial plan was tank, and then they went, here's the patch, you're not there. I'm like, okay, I guess I won't, because that'll be a terrible idea, relying on me for tank when there. But I probably would have played Feral for handiness, because that was my gear and trinkets were there. But then it was like, oh well, there's 5 melee and 2 range in the group, and I'm like, okay, I'll play balance, don't worry, I'll play Boomkin, and that's okay. It's probably my favorite range to play outside of maybe Frost Mage, because Frost Mage is kind of brainless. I know it's a little more brainy now than it was a couple patches ago.
God, I remember playing Frost Mage in Sanctum. No, not Sanctum of Domination. In Sepulchre. And, why Frost Mage can work for me is because there is so little brain on the Frost Mage that you do actually just get to whole ass focus on the fights. And I know that Sanctum of Dominate... I did it again. I know that Sepulchre of the first ones. I'm not drunk. There's literally no alcohol in this. as much as Sepulchre was dramatic, I actually did quite enjoy it as a raid. And I'm wondering if maybe some of that's because I was playing as Frost, so my head was just in the game. I mean, especially, that broker boss where you had all of like the,
Yes.
the little lines flying out and you were like dodging the lines and doing all that. I thought that was a really good boss. And like Halondrus was awesome.
I mean, there's good bosses in there. Like,
It's that weird thing. Obviously, I don't want it to be like World of Warcraft, the final Titan. Psych! It's the first one, and I don't think they're going to do that. To be clear, I would be sad if we never got the first one's inspired audio kit again, because between the first one's construct boss in Sanctum of Domination and like the likes of Halondrus, weren't their sound effects so cool?
the beepy boops were tasty.
Those were good beepy boops.
They were some of the nicest beepy boops. They're very harmonic and symphonic and all the words that are musical that I don't actually understand, but we'll say anyway.
It was one of those moments where you just kind of realize, like, yes, everything around here is like not great because the top direction is a trash fire, like narratively. I Lamau. Is anyone else seeing all the little hushed conversations going on about that right now? Very funny. So as much as that was all terrible, it is that thing of like the actual people who are, sitting down at their desk, clocked into work, going to go make some content. Yeah, they go pretty hard. I suppose that always has been the constant. So, in terms of things, Matt, what is there to talk about? What should we do? There's 10-2 stuff to talk about. There's a little bit of Seeds of Renewal stuff to talk about. We can also, if we want, be a little dynamic, throw in some content based on what's been going on.
Dynamic? Oh my god, like Flight? Holy shit. I don't know. I've been completely out of the loop, so I'll take a look and see what we're gonna maybe see.
Yeah, so I mean, you've been out of the loop. We have had interesting things like, the most obvious one to talk about is kind of the video we just released in the channel.
Numbers?
About the numbers, which I think do watch it after the stream. It is interesting where Mirdrasil is easier. Farak is easier than Starkarath in normal mode. I think it's the other way around, barely, on heroic mode. But we've actually seen like heroic mode first boss kills are up on last tier. Now, some of that's because people will have got through normal in 1.5 raid nights and then killed Gnarlroot. So, that does kind of make sense. But the point basically is there's been times in World of Warcraft's past where you look at the first boss kills in the data. This is first boss guild kills. So, I think guild kills are going to be one of those sort of stickier numbers where I think the ranges will be smaller in guild kills other than maybe expansion launches because, in a guild, like your mates kind of keep you in the game because it's what you do together. So I imagine, LFR participation, pugs, I think those probably follow the same trend, but, with more swings between the data points. But yes, the first boss kills on normal mode are still like it's an 8% drop or something, which is really good. And that's like a level of player retention that we haven't really seen since late BFA and mid to late Legion. So, like, that is really good. And yes, the numbers are not as big, but like it's the whole analogy that I kind of launched the video with. It's just like, well, there's no point in refilling a leaky bucket. Making the damn bucket less leaky is basically the job of this expansion. Do you know what? It seems I've done that. So it was kind of nice to to cover that and actually have some good news.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously not really like world content. I've not played basically almost at all, so I just haven't really had the time to dig into it, and I kind of don't need to as much anymore because I can just kind of hop in and do whatever I need to. I'm not supposed to grind to 20 renown to play the game. Obviously, if I was a Mythic Raider and wanted that augment rune, it'd be a different story. But as far as I can actually play the game, it's a lot more friendly for my time and my kind of attention, which, because I don't really have an awful lot of it, considering all the other things I want to do, I end up like kind of playing the bare minimum in a way. But that just means running keys and doing raid. And that's a pretty decent way for me to enjoy the patch at the minute. So like doing the actual quest, flying around, that was a decent enough experience, like all in. A couple, obviously cutscenes, but as we covered it extensively,
Little silly.
Absolute ass. But the general vibes are on point. The Emerald Dreams is actually a nice zone. It's not the zone I wanted, but this is a very nice zone nonetheless. Yeah, and for me, I can see why people are sticking a little bit more. I genuinely can in a whole bunch of ways because it is genuinely like a better experience. And I really enjoyed the raid. It's a little bit frustrating coming in and like running through normal with no barriers because
normal was honestly kind of like that before
gear. Like,
I mean, okay, obviously the amount of gear that we have now is going to be silly in normal mode. So yes, you got it in absolute paste mode, but it would have been similar to Aberrus Night 1 on normal mode, certainly.
Right, yeah, because even heroic, and I know like most of it was like there was one element of reprog where we took like a few pulls on Laradar, but otherwise we just kind of walked through and wrecked
that would make
everything.
sense for Laradar,
and it was kind of weird because I'm like, this feels mechanically a little bit too forgiving for me, but I don't know what it was like to prog it, so it's hard for me to say.
Progging it, doing mistakes would screw you over, for sure. I mean, especially in Laradar, and Laradar we progged on a decent little bit. Kind of worth saying for people, we're not a group who ended up with like maxed out gear from the previous season.
Not even close.
So yeah, no, with Laradar, like, I mean, progression in him felt pretty good. Certainly, like, on heroic mode, I felt that, the damage pulsing that he does that you've got to stand in the seed for? And I get the whole point of the seed is it means you don't die. But it did feel like, as a healer, if somebody puts bubble down or whatever, there's not really much you even have to do because people take so little damage. So I think there's definitely a few points of some bosses they could have, like, tuned it up a little bit. But certainly, like, as a healer, I've enjoyed it. Between having the souls to heal on Farak and then the treants and the brambles to heal. I honestly, I've kind of started liking healing NPCs a little, or just having more mechanics to deal with, especially because you just put radiance on them and then that gives atonement to all the NPCs and then you just turn around to the boss and, get slapping, which feels good.
That sounds good. It's hard for me to say because I've only been in for one night, but like the DPS stuff feels a little bit easy at the minute in terms of just like what you're supposed to be doing a lot of the time. In the same sense that it's like the personal responsibility is not super heavy, but one thing is like it's almost one of the things that I think is making it easier to me is how much more obvious everything is, and this is the weird part where how much of World of Warcraft's difficulty came from mechanical obfuscation and confusion.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
And now they're like, hey, this is mechanic, you look at the fight and you understand it. And I'm going to be brutally honest, like our raid leader or who took my place for this patch, Matt, also called Matt.
Single T though.
Yeah, Single T. He explained all the fights very briefly to me and I didn't pay attention at all.
Oh, same. Like even on like night one, Matt, he keeps on explaining the mechanics and, I'm just like, the Homer Simpson. Like in his head is just a monkey banging symbols together. Yeah. So yeah, but I didn't listen to a single thing you said, which because it's obvious.
Yeah, I mean, I tried, but I'm not very good at it.
Oh yeah, I tried. It's just it goes away. Yeah.
Yeah, as I said, I'm not very good at parsing like actual voice an awful lot of the time if it's basic instructions or if it's kind of over there unless I would rather read. So I had like the like cheat sheets up.
Read?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't do that either.
I read over listening. But I'm
just like pull.
Yeah, so you see this whole modern trend of everything being video content and audio as opposed to just articles. Yeah,
you're a loser.
It's not good for me, it's not good for me. But that's why I like Twitter so much. I can just read lots of posts all day. But where is I even going to that? Yeah, the mechanics are simple enough that I could just kind of intuit them from them happening.
Yeah.
Because they use consistent design language a lot of the time. And if there was, all I would need to hear is, split groups, like on Nimue. And it's like, okay, well, there are two ads, one left, one right. So I'm like, I'm in group 2, so I go to the right. That's it. Then it was like, I was standing the thing. All right, well, I can stand in the thing. What happens? So you stand the thing, it goes away. Okay, I got that. What's that? That's a big line. Well, I don't want to hit by that because that looks like a dangerous thing. Okay.
So, Matt, I don't want to shock you.
Yeah.
But sometimes when we look at we look at Warcraft logs, we have execution rankings that are like 94%.
Yes.
Now, this is very shocking to us because we're all stupid.
Very stupid and can't pay attention.
Now, what does that number mean? Like us getting a good execution ranking. And this is one of those things, it's going to come off like horn tooting, and I'm really not trying to like make it be horn tooting. But if we feel really stupid and we're getting like a 94, what does that say? Now, I have actually had a little bit of a thought on that, because we usually raid like 10 to 14 people. Usually like 10, 11, 12. Which, I mean, I've always preferred. One of the things that the discussion around FF14 kind of kicked off is people saying, yep, 8's better. Mm-hmm. And hearing even a lot of like Mythic Raiders and stuff, a lot of them just being like, oh yeah, 10. Or people finding, when a lot of the Mythic raiding guilds went over to 14, finding that experience like quite refreshing. Obviously with World of Warcraft, with, classes, stuff like that, comps, 10 wouldn't work, for like Mythic or whatever. But I have to wonder if the flex system means that, has the flex system increased the size of the average casual raid? Almost certainly.
Yes.
Almost
yes,
certainly.
It has.
And that probably means that there's a kind of signal to noise ratio thing going on, because you think about, say, people, in the past talking about raids in Classic, where, yeah, you had like a 40-man raid and maybe 15 people were really carrying it.
If even, like.
Yeah, so I wonder...
3 people do mechanics, 15 would do DPS, and that was it.
And that's what makes me wonder if maybe there being 12 of us and us playing together consistently pretty much since Nyalotha, does that actually mean that we will naturally have pretty high execution ratings because we have a smaller comp versus somebody who's just, flex with loads of people?
Almost certainly,
yeah,
because we have less margin for error as well because of the smaller sizes.
The other thing that I look at then is those, it's what we call player retention when I'm talking through the numbers in those videos. It's not literally player retention, but, it's like if boss 1 guild kills are X and boss, final boss guild kills are Y, and those numbers are pretty close together, it does show lots of progression happening, because obviously you can't get to the final boss without having killed the first one. I wonder, right? Blizzard evidently saw in Aberrus that them going a little bit easier than Vault led to some pretty damn good participation numbers. And it's one of those things I know... This kind of, it even goes back to, I remember it wasn't the first instantiation of this long-running theme, but it was like listening to the Blue Please podcast from Total Biscuit back in the days of Wrath of the Lich King, where, at the time he would have been talking about the game getting too easy, the game getting too casual. Because that was, just to be clear, this isn't, saying, oh, he was... some crazy hardcore dude or whatever. But like that was a lot of the prevailing discussion around WoW in Wrath, because Wrath is when you see World of Warcraft begin to morph quite a lot away from its more sort of classic roots. But the analogy that I use is that ICC 10 was so many people's gateway drug. So many people's gateway drug, and that was really healthy for the game. And one of the things that I think damaged Cataclysm is there was no gateway drug. If you were playing ICC 10 and that's what you were used to, and you went into Bastion of Twilight 10, prepare it to be ripped to shreds, because the difference was just so crazy. So I wonder if having normal modes be like, what has been an Aberrus and a Mirror, so like Blizzard have evidently kept the same tuning. There's actually, we have a graph of those kind of, retention rates, or completion rate, whatever, as we call them. And you see Vault, right? Vault is, going down like that. The 2 new raids are going down like that, and then more of a dip towards the end. The raids are literally easier. People are doing more progression. But I just wonder, is that meaning that more normal mode players are actually, there's more normal mode players, maybe more normal mode pugs. Maybe that's becoming more people's gateway drug, like that kind of virtuous cycle that was kicked off by Ice Crown 10. I don't know, but evidently Blizzard have sort of they've seen stats, and that's why they've tuned the way they've tuned. And I guess what you were saying then about like personal responsibility in those boss fights, just a lot of that stuff with the mechanics. I do have to wonder, like, if they are just actually trying to respond to the experiments that they're running. Because, like, the first thing I think we all felt in Aberrus was this is an experiment.
Which was very thematically fitting for what it was. But, yeah.
It sure was.
It's the same thing where I feel like... now, without having gone through, like, because obviously we'll see what the last couple bosses on Heroic look like. because I know we kind of like waded through Aberrus and Heroic as well until we hit Zedscarn, and then we're like, fuck this.
Zedscarn.
Yeah, and then Tharion wasn't too bad. He was a bit of a wall, and then Sarkarath took a decent bit. So like, we'll see what Smolder up to Ferdak feels like, and Nimwe's about to fall down. We like one pull before raid end, we got her to 20%, which is like serious progress without any progress because it's a simple enough kind of fight. But I think there's definitely a case of the game can be hard if you want it to be hard, but that's only if you're going to be playing. Like if you want the hard experience, it's you're going to get over this wall and you're going to have like the satisfaction of the climb and stuff like that. That's going to be you playing Mythic. That's going to be you going extremely hard on your M+ a lot of the time. But it feels like the rest of the game is being a little bit pulled down in difficulty to be a little bit more like, what's the satisfaction people get? Why do people play the game? And I could argue for days that, well, if you make your game harder and you give people a challenge and you get them to rise to that challenge, players who like challenge will do that and they will enjoy it. But World of Warcraft hasn't been about being this wall to climb in this challenge for a while. So I feel like raids being easier kind of is a better thing you like follow the track of people who want to go in and have their time and see success. And so, I'm going to say there's a little bit of this comes from my experiences in Japan. I'll find a way to bring this up every fucking topic for months.
Well, hey, no, it's like one of the things whenever we see so many modern television shows, and this is something I've noticed in Avatar. In Avatar, all the humans look like fucking Californians, they sort of sound like, these modern Californians. Everything's a fucking quip. Everything's a quip. Everything's, a bit MCU feeling, whereas the actual Na'vi aren't broadly. But you then, it's like the new Saints Row game they did, where they're trying to make all these kind of characters, hip, relatable, modern characters. And they're like, you're running a resistance cell against people. If, you coming across like that makes you look like an absolute crazy psychopath, which is exactly what people said about the character writing in that Saints Row game. But I bring it up because it does seem like a lot of that is writing from a lack of worldly experience. And then there's people who talk about, say like a Hemingway or whatever, where it's like those people traveled and went to loads of different places and, had lots of crazy stuff happen in their lives. And you can sort of, tell when a writer has actually had lots of lived experience, outside of their bubble, stuff like that. You kind of look at a lot of say like, I would say like modern progressive television writing versus like say Ron Moore doing writing, who obviously, Battlestar Galactica, absolutely, very left-leaning show. Is a show a lot of the politics of which I would agree with as well. I'm generally quite left-leaning myself. But like you compare modern Ron Moore writing in For All Mankind and some of the very embarrassing modern TV shows, and you're like, one of these people has managed to hit these themes, but in a way where it actually feels worldly and intelligent. Which is to say, as we go to you and going to Japan and having more experiences and having like more ways of thinking about all of this, it almost certainly means you're going to be better, better analysis, better at seeing like other little dimensions to things.
Yeah.
This is why it's exciting.
Yeah. So my point was going to be basically mobile games. LML. Yeah. So
abort.
Yeah. So a lot of what I did there was go around Akihabara, which is, Electric Town. It's nerds fucking paradise. And it used to be a little bit more, like years and years ago, it used to be more out there geek stuff. The electronic side was taking a little bit of a smaller part over the like pop culture kind of stuff, which obviously means anime. And a lot of it, every ad was some form of gacha in some capacity. You look at the skyline of Akiba and you say, oh, there's Genshin Impact, there's Honkai Star Rail, there's Azure Lane, there's Heaven Burns Red. Did I see anything else? Nikkei stuff was everywhere. There was Blue Archives of fucking everywhere, right? So one of the things that this is going to make noise, I think. No, it won't. Okay, so one of the things that's funny is because a friend was convinced me, and I also like music and stuff, I'm playing D4DJ fairly regularly, right?
That's a lot of color and visual detail.
Yeah, so one of the fun things about D4DJ is that, and a lot of games are like this, and I didn't know this until like I actually experienced it. There's an awful lot of stuff which has, and I'm not going to be able to show you quite like closely, but there's an auto mode. So I've got my voltage, which I get every couple minutes or every like 10 minutes. And I need to spend that I can spend that. And if I spend it when I play a song, I get rewards after. So if I want to spend my voltage, I can just have it on auto mode. And I can literally this song will play in a moment. And I won't have to do a single thing, right? It's literally just playing itself. And obviously if I turn the audio on, like it's just playing itself. And the point there is that
you're thinking about the AI NPCs, aren't you?
No,
I'm joking.
The
just like whenever Matt logs into Raid, we're like, Matt, if you turn on the AI, Matt.
Yeah. So the point here is that what you want to do is you want to spend your resources and get the things that you're playing this for. But what if you don't have time to play? What if you don't want to play to have the satisfaction? And this is like, where's the game? Yeah, so that's the fun thing. Obviously, I actually like playing this. But if I don't have time to play, I also like...
Yep. Can confirm, Matt authentically absolutely loves, lives, breathes everything rhythm games. And it is extremely surprising that you do not have an iPad mini that you exclusively use to play them 25 hours a day.
Yeah, so this is how much I fucking love rhythm games. These are physical cards that you can print from Ongeki Bright Rhythm.
That you can print?
Yeah, so you have your in-game cards, and they're like your team. So, of course, I then, immediately after playing Ongeki for about 15 hours, I just printed my entire Akane team. So I did.
There you go.
Because these are the ones I got. And also, of course, the SSR Marsa, which was about 8 hours of grinding and putting money into the machine constantly to keep playing to grind currency to get my SSR Marsa. And I printed it.
Now you have it?
Yeah, I actually do really like video games. But the point is...
So to be clear for everybody, that's not you playing mobile video games. That is you in an arcade playing arcade video games.
Yeah, I actually have a photo of it later. But yeah, so the thing I'm talking about is basically easier means you get to enjoy the other parts without having to play the game as much, right? And that's the thing that's, that's the thing that's pretty interesting because in this case, if I'm playing D4DJ and like one of the other things is going to be a bunch of like story and a bunch of like writing and character moments because the whole point is it's a bunch of these groups of girls that are trying to be like DJ units or, you know, musical units. So you've got your vocalist, you've got your VJ, you've got your DJ, stuff like that. And so much of it is going to be other things. So much of it is you get your rewards, you level up the units, you get the story bits. And sometimes you don't really want to actually play the game because you don't play the game. And I was like that before that. I'm like, fuck that. That sounds horrible. That sounds degenerate and nightmarish. And that's not even playing games. What's happened? It's all gone horribly wrong. Horribly wrong. But then I kind of realized, no, that's a pretty valid way a lot of people actually engage with games. And it's not the way I ever would have. But it kind of is how people play things. Whereas like, here's a game, and there's a lot of different parts of that game. And we're starting to learn that people are, or I'm starting to learn, I should say, that people are happier, especially because of like time constraints and things. They're happier to pick and choose parts that they actually want to play and want to experience. So for me, that comes like when World of Warcraft terms, you're going to play World of Warcraft, and what do you want from World of Warcraft, right? Do you want the big like challenge? Do you want the satisfaction of beating the boss? Or do you want to feel the number go up of getting loot? And you go, well, classically, right, in history would have went, so we're going to, you know, we're going to make it worth it. And you need to earn your gear and all that stuff. Now, there's an awful lot of video games where it's like you earn it by just fucking being there, basically. And this starting to be a little bit more like, in my head, that's more acceptable-ish. It's still, like, I'm still conflicted about it in a bunch of ways. I'm not just going to turn and go, well, actually, here's some rhythm game. My phone has changed my entire perception of video games. But it feels like that's a trend that's going for more people to play more things. And it's actually being like responded to by the player base quite well in the long term. And I think it could boil down to like people just wanting, rewards. Matt just needs to accept that people want meaningless good boy points, and that's okay. Yeah, kind of.
Well, and the thing you can do though is you can balance that.
Yeah.
So within World of Warcraft, I think in normal mode they kind of have a good balance there.
Yeah.
It's like, look, there's one of those things. Would I ever advocate for us having loads of idle games and like, hey, AFK Arena? Which reminds me, I need to send a no email address to the 80 fucking millionth agency who's like, hey, do you wanna sponsor AFK Arena? I'm like, no!
Nope.
No, I do not. But there is a lesson to be learned about why that thing works. And what you can then do is try to take that lesson and be like, okay, this is the lesson, and here is it being used in the dark way. Can this lesson be used to inform us in, how we make games that people can sort of get the experience that they want, that they actually want out of the game more. So in this case, like, yeah, I don't know. I'm pro it. I'm pro it, but I do think there's a wrinkle on that.
Yeah.
I wish that. So back in my formative days playing the game, we only had normal mode and heroic mode. If you've played the game since WoD, that might be a bit confusing. Heroic used to be the difficulty of Mythic. I mean, Mythic's probably harder now, but relatively speaking, right? It used to be that heroic mode was the really hard thing, and then normal mode was the raid. And a normal mode back then would have the same tuning as a heroic mode today, right? That's basically how it worked. And one of the things that was good there is you could move from 10 normal to 10 heroic because you didn't have to change the format of your team. And obviously with flexible rating, that then changes where now, if you want that extra harder type of content, it's got to be Mythic, and that's 20 people. Now, I would not advocate ruining Mythic 20.
No.
And actually, I don't even think I would advocate doing Mythic 10 because that is setting a benchmark that it is going to be of equal difficulty and all that to Mythic 20, and that for Blizzard is going to cause troubles. I suppose what I would like is maybe some form of optional challenge mode that you could do on top of your normal heroic raid. I don't want to say like, oh, it's heroic plus. Oh, you could do a heroic plus 10 with your buddies. No, not at all. But even something like, in one of those bosses in Vault, you can activate the frog NPC. I suppose that almost makes it feel more like Ulduar heroics. And I know that there are those optional achievements, but if you could just have it be, you get one more piece of loot, and that loot's maybe a little bit better, and, if you really want to do, after you've got Curve, something else in your raid that is, that is harder, but that doesn't mean you've got to change the social structure. As an example, we could probably do the first few bosses anyway in Mythic, and maybe we would actually enjoy that as a team. But the problem is, none of us want to play with more than 12 people because we like our current people, and we don't want to have to recruit more people to our roster, and we don't want to have to think about, doing all of the comp stuff and the hardcore stuff. Now, it's really good that that's there for the people who like it, and I'm not advocating for taking that away, but I just think there should be something a little bit more beyond Curve that maybe a group like us could do. And obviously, I think if that was to exist in the context of normal and heroic being what they are right now, I think that would actually be a really healthy raiding experience where there is something to do after Curve that doesn't involve saying, and we're going to completely change how our raid structure works. Because the second you're saying we gotta, have 20 characters, to do Mythic, then that just changes the number of people you need in your guild. You gotta go recruiting, and maybe you just don't want to do that.
Yeah, and that's the fun thing where that was going well for us. We would like to have something a little bit harder that we could chase, and then you have to suggest that maybe it goes both ways. Maybe actually more difficulties is probably better for. Obviously, there's a load of problems of balance. There's a load of problems of how the design of the gearing system works for how okay, well, if you add another difficulty, then how much more effort is that going to take to make the difficulty? How much is that going to impact the gearing cycle? Is that going to throw off balance numbers? Are their spreadsheets going to fall apart as soon as they try that? In the same way that anytime they try something new, their spreadsheets fall apart for an expansion and a half, and then they finally learn to balance and then change something and it breaks. But there's almost like I was saying with this idea, and it's not like advocating for the game plays itself, not at all, but it is that people are maybe playing for a reason other than to feel challenged playing the video game.
Yeah, there's more loops that exist than just the mastery loop.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And the way the game actually, or the way the game can support more people not caring about the mastery loop, but instead getting to engage with content and play in the way they want to, in a way, to get the other parts of that they want access to. Which obviously, an example I used was, people will grind resources to level up to get a story and not play the actual game. Like that's kind of degenerate. Like that is pretty much degenerate. You can just ignore the gameplay loop. That sucks. But in WoW, it's not going to be that way. It's like you have to play. You get to experience the content. It's just not going to be hard. In the same way that games have like story modes and easy like modes at the minute.
Yeah.
Like yeah, I think that's. Ultimately, because we started talking about this when it comes to like numbers, and I think it ultimately does boil down to that the numbers are staying there because people have more access. Now, there's a billion different parts. Like the content could be better. The content could be better. It could be the residual effect of the War Within and the World Soul Saga being announced. It could be that could have a decent part of it. People going, well, I care about the future of World of Warcraft now, so I'm going to stick around more. So there's a little bit of that, but you just kind of imagine that if it's working, then you have to kind of try to figure out why it could be working. And based on my recent experience and thoughts, I definitely think there's a little bit of like going to where the player is as opposed to trying to put the player in a box.
That's it. Yeah, you go to where the player, and this is what Cataclysm in hindsight messed up. Cataclysm had a clear vision of where it wanted the players to be. And at the time, and in some ways now, I still agree with that vision. But what Cataclysm failed to do was sort of give the players that journey. And then also, I think Cataclysm did have some struggles with content. Because obviously, like, hey, Fireland stuff, great. Yes, we maybe we're expecting more raid content there. But, you had the whole Molten Front, right? And people really enjoyed that. But, by the time you get to, like, Dragon Soul's that's a raid cobbled together out of other bits. You don't really have world content coming around with it. I just think Cat is, like, interesting. Because they had clear ways where they wanted some of the play patterns of Wrath to be different, and they just kind of went there and did it, but not really in a way that sort of took loads of those players and their expectations to that new place naturally. It just kind of said, hey, no, this is what a dungeon looks like now. And, all of us in the community were like, CCs are good. And I agree. I still have great memories playing those Cata Heroics, but yeah, it's interesting because you got your design goals, you've got where your players are, and you can have a perfect and, as correct as a design goal can be design goal. But your design goal is not a thing that exists in objective reality because that reality involves what your players are used to.
Yeah, which is the difficult part of having an existing audience. Where this would be a different story if they were saying, well, Blizzard are going to make a brand new video game and here's what they're going to do. Because obviously, that would still have the conversation of how much your existing Blizzard audience, how much you go for existing audiences versus carving your own thing. But it's like, unless it's, and this is kind of the sad realism of things, unless there's an indie that's well-funded and able to do things, going super hard towards, here's our vision for a small, here's our vision, adapt to it, adhere to it, or don't play our game is pretty risky. Obviously, that works in some cases where, you look at FromSoft games, an example. Obviously, they're half the time they feel like the exception that proves the rule a bunch of time. Obviously, there's a lot of what goes on in the likes of Elden Ring and Armored Core. People go, oh, there's an awful lot more. Okay, cool. Well, there's people, or the audience might not be as, or maybe more open to what looks like a narrow vision to begin with. But I think for World of Warcraft, it's kind of the lesson that Ian talked about learning pretty heavily in his interview with Preach is just, we're going to do what the players want us to do because the players actually have a good idea of what they want, which is, pretty dumb of us not to realize that historically. And you go, yeah, it's, I think designing content for the minority is bad, not going to lie, as designing content for people who don't like MMORPGs. The caveat I would say there is designing content for the minority is fine if you're designing content for every minority. If your minorities add up to a majority, that's fine. But you're like basically spot on in terms of make things that people want to play and make them playable in the way people want it to be. And that's kind of where I think we're largely at the minute. Because I saw someone way earlier say that like Emerald Dream is one of the better patches for collecting in a long time. I'd said like a couple minor things. And you go, well, yeah, that's probably another part of why the retention's up a little bit for raiding. Because obviously, well, what do you mean collecting and raiding? They're two separate things. But if people are flying around, they're picking stuff up, they're like, that's pretty cool. The odds of them opening the pre-made group friend are going, yeah, I'll go do something else. That works too, like. That works too. You design a game for an audience and the rest go play something else, trying to do all and be all is stupidity. Yeah, trying to be all is greed. But to go to the ancient proverb of, a bird in the hand is better than two in the bush. So a bird in the hand's worth two in the bush, yeah. So...
Oh, it's better to have the bird you can eat than there be two birds over there that you can't.
Yes.
There you go.
Well done. You've figured out the ancient allegory, or the metaphor. So, to me, that means that Blizzard have a pretty wide audience of World of Warcraft players, and when they're not serving all of those players, they're letting them go to waste. And they're trying to do better, or they're trying to do that way better than they were before. They try to go, basically, they've learned who their audience is a bit more, and that's why things are getting easier. Friend, thanks for the super. As I've gotten older, I no longer care about mastery, I care about experiences, which is why AAA is dead, because it's all the same homogenized goop. Same. Big same.
That's the feel, yeah.
I really like Insomniac's Spider-Man games. I have so little interest in playing Spider-Man 2, because I know it's a great game, and I know I would enjoy it, but I just look at it and I go, 60, 70 quid for some fucking goop. I'm all right.
And then that's really challenging because I know that you're like, that's pretty good goop though.
Yeah.
And it's also like it is goop that is okay. So in this analogy, right, our goop is a suspension. Like going back in science class, so it's a suspension. It's not dissolved in. So like the little granules in the suspension of your Spider-Man 2 goop, really good granules. It's interesting that I've kind of had a similar yet different experience lately in going to play Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, which is a game that is getting profoundly, it's a game. That's basically its reviews. But the thing is, I'm actually really enjoying it. Because I haven't played a Far Cry game since Far Cry 3. And a lot of those mechanics, like, crafting your bow thing and harvesting the fruit and doing all of that, well, to me, that makes a lot of sense with the game that I'm playing. Being a Navi and all of that. But I'm then just thinking, a bit like with you and Spider-Man 2, if I had just played Far Cry 5 and Far Cry 5 Expansion and Far Cry 6 and Far Cry and Horizon Zero Dawn and Spider-Man and this and that, and then I looked at Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, I'd be like, no, I'm not playing that. Whereas for me, I'm like, oh, that's so pretty. Oh, my jump's really satisfying. Oh, that's like a barnacle in Half-Life, but I can ride it up a big branch. And I'm enjoying the verticality, and being a big blue monkey's really fun. Especially because you have your human allies and you're like, ha ha ha, small. Several jokes, many of which are inappropriate, can be inserted here. Image macros that I'm sure you've all seen. So it's that weird thing of like, for me, I've like actively been like, yeah, okay, actually this is a kind of goop that I want to play because I'm not used to that kind of goop.
Yeah, because it's all about that like kind of freshness and experience. Realistically.
Yeah, which I suppose is to say that like, yeah, it's quite hard to safely make more of a game, even though people will really like it. I even think about something, so take with like Pale Beyond, I would, if we were to make another thing following that, because by the way, next game, stuff's going really good. I think we've got an amazing vision. It is like you can tell it's made by the same people as Pale, yes, but it is a, pretty damn different game to Pale. And I just know, like, yeah, we could probably do more Pale. And, you know, we could probably do one more and get away with it just fine. But if there's the third one, and it's like, you know, the best version of that, people are just going to be like, yeah, but I've done that before. You know, you're just at that stage where you then, I then think, Aliens.
Colonial Marines.
Why'd you do that? No, like, yes, it's unfortunate that then Alien 3 and Alien 4 happen. Yeah. Alien 3 seems like there was amazing concepts for that movie. I don't know if you've seen any of the deep dives into like the behind the scenes of Alien 3. It's insane. But like Alien and Aliens, all the similarities that exist, right? But they are very different movies. You know, it's like action horror movie, straight horror movie, different. But it's like a good way, it's sort of a good way of keeping that franchise going in a way that won't lead to burnout. And then obviously you have your Aliens movies and your Predator. You know, it's like they do Predator, and then they're like, Predator 2, more Predator.
The Predatoring, yes.
Yeah, like Predator 2, what does that remind me of? Friggin' Babe 2, Pig in the City. By, of course, the director of Mad Max Fury Road, which I find to be endlessly hilarious. They're like, what have you done? Mad Max and Babe.
It's pretty funny.
I have a feeling a lot of people don't really know what Babe the Pig is. Yeah, so, you know, next time you're watching Furiosa, just know that he also made a family, series of family movies about a pig.
Gotta get the grift in, like, gotta get the reps in somewhere, to be honest, like.
But it's just that thing of, difference in experience. And I think this is where, Matt, we can swing it back to World of Warcraft. Because, that thing that I think we're, like, overtly supposed to be talking about. But this is actually where...
I try to dodge it as much as I can.
This is where WoW is kind of... I don't want to say failed, but it's a trap that WoW has walked into. Because, you know, the way people almost meme and being like, 4 new dungeons... Sorry. 4 new zones, 8 new dungeons, and a raid. WoW expansion. And then the people are like, don't care. Because what does their goopy brain want? Artifact weapon, garrison. And I know people might say like, oh, well, this didn't always work out perfectly. But it was a big new, like, this is novel. Which obviously, when Dragonflight is just like, hey, we're really trying to get our fundamentals better. P.S. A raid, 4 zones, and some dungeons. People just don't get excited. And that's really a struggle for Blizzard to, like, really keep the numbers going. And I think that's also what Destiny 2 has ran into. It's ran into big problems. I mean, you guys have probably seen the coverage you've done on the news channel. But also, it's a seasonal live service game. And they have found a production model for what a season is that they can make. But...
factory line video games.
Yeah, because people are then like, Season 15... And there's a struggle there. So it's why, like, I'm really happy with Delves coming into World of Warcraft. And I'm happy that, the way they say, and in midnight, there'll be something that blows your socks off. That at least is telling me that they're quite aware that they need the hype of a build-around feature. But they need to get that via a sort of feature that expands and grows the game in a way that people genuinely find exciting, that then doesn't have... all of the the literal negative problems of those systems when they're alive, but also the negative externalities that come along with them that are sort of not really thought about at the time of implementation. So yeah, I suppose that's like, even, if they took the Dragonflight stuff and they, imagine the Dragonflights were 4 covenants, and that would be a way of framing that. Obviously, people go, covenants, no. So imagine Covenants didn't happen. But if they were to really sell that as being like 4 Dragonflights, you can be a member of each one and it's all different. That's like a way of framing it where people just wouldn't have thought more renowned bars and rep. So it's kind of interesting as we kind of work into that, because from Blizzard, it's like they could do the best 4 zones, 8 dungeons, and a raid that they would. And for some people, that won't be enough to get their attention. In the same way for you, you're like, oh, I really enjoyed Spider-Man and Miles Morales. Spider-Man 2, though, it's another one. Even though, by all accounts, it's amazing.
Yeah, I think it's the really awkward part where you kind of have to go, well, there's a balance to it, believe it or not. You can have the most exciting thing in the world and your fundamentals can be shit and no one will play your game. And you can have the best fundamentals of all time and nothing exciting and everyone goes away. And I think that's maybe that's kind of what happened to Destiny. I know Destiny maybe flopped the fundamentals every now and again because of how they just changed stuff and it didn't work too well. But I think that's the part where we're now in a world where World of Warcraft can do that. World of Warcraft has built fundamentals that everyone's like, this kind of slaps. And then they get to go, well, here's a patch. We're going to little fiddle around with the like the fundamentals of endgame and make them better and more enjoyable. And they're clearly in a part where that's working better with all of the retention stuff. So and that's the World Soul Saga is going to be like, hey, we have exciting things. We have exciting things coming, such as a story that we thought about. We should have done that before, but we're doing it now. And remember the guy you like, he's back. Remember the guy that made you happy, he's back.
Oh, Malfurion.
No, Thrall. Remember the guy that you didn't like because we kind of shat on a story in Shadowlands? He's back, Anduin. Remember Elf Knife Wife? She's back. Please be excited. And all the other things going on. But yeah, it's just they're getting things right on both fronts is what I'm trying to say, realistically. Whereas a lot of places are failing one or the other. And it is frustrating because this is, like, obviously I was pointed out a while ago, people are super happy to pay however much a year to play the new FIFA or the new NBA or Call of Duty.
That's where it's interesting with COD.
That's like an interesting audience kind
because
of thing.
COD is trying, if COD was just single player campaigns, we'd have this discussion about, about Spider-Man 2. But people don't just go, oh, it's another COD, I don't care. Because what they're actually getting is League of Legends sold to them every single year for $70. Because Call of Duty it's the sort of thing that I call a forever game, right? Like that kind of game where, like League of Legends or Counter-Strike, where people just play that for 10,000 hours. Or, 2 Fort in Team Fortress 2. Yeah,
2 Fort, like.
And you can just play that for, you can just sit there and play 2 Fort for 500 hours and somehow that makes sense. That's what Call of Duty is. Just that Call of Duty is giving you an entry fee every year. Yeah. So to think that Call of Duty is sort of succeeding in the same way that like a Spider-Man may succeed, very, very, very different, because COD is basically just like if Riot said, and to play League of Legends in this season, you must give us $70. To which people will obviously give them $70 because they want to continue playing. Just kind of interesting. Now, there's a really good super here from Vryn, and it's one that it definitely speaks to me. I think it might speak to you as well.
It did speak to me, and that's why I mentioned it as soon as I came in and talked about it.
Oh, I'm really sorry. I was going to talk about the mastery loop.
Go for it. Work away.
So we didn't talk about that bit.
Yeah, I didn't talk about the mastery loop. I talked about the homogenized thing.
Yeah. So you're talking about the homogenized loop. The other side is the mastery loop. Yes. So I remember when I was a kid.
Sorry to hear that.
And I know it was a terrible time. Big mistake. Shouldn't have been born. But anyway. And being a real blowhard about WoW. Just being like, if you're going to turn up in this fucking raid, you better be prepared. You better be squared away. If we don't kill this boss, real people will die. And not really, but like, you're like that. Or, you're playing Call of Duty 2. And you're just thinking, I could win the tournament. I could get more than just a wham bar for 4th place. I could get 2 hours of free time in the LAN center. And then maybe I could go to an Insomnia in the UK and play COD 2. Which, like that side of the mastery loop. And I guess the reason why I wanted to bring up with you, because you talked about it with the Goop games, but your experiences in fighting games. Ooh. And your experience in a lot of those games where there is a mastery loop. Certainly the win-loss rate between, us in Smash is very funny. Very, very funny. It's one of those things just like, yep, I don't have the skills to beat him. I've lost, and I will always lose. Other than one fluke where Matt makes a really stupid mistake, or, is daydreaming. And I'm like, he's daydreaming. Time to go for his weak spots. Yeah, that's the other side of it.
The mastery loop. It's just
a diminishing of the mastery loop for other parts, because I care about experiences the same.
Yeah, mastery loop's an interesting one. because I certainly felt the hook of that playing rhythm games again properly. I'd just be like, there's maybe a little bit less match, a little bit more actually getting into flow playing something like super hard difficulty. But yeah, I think the master loop is maybe this is a pretty unformed thought, so I might just talk absolute shite. As the gaming audience has gotten very, very, very big and broad, and as culture has moved,
I thought that was just me.
Nice. No, I imagine. No, don't finish that thought, you dumbass. So as it's
well done, Matt. Well done.
I have had to turn my self-censorship up quite strong since coming back. Imagine just having no filter for 2 weeks and say whatever you want to people, and then you come back. Because even in public, I could say whatever I want because no one fucking knows any English. It's great. It was brilliant.
Oh boy.
But no, so one of the things is, what was I even talking about? Yeah. Gaming culture's largely changed to move away from the actual master loop as a part of video games, because that used to be so much more of what video games were.
Everyone tries to make a boomer shooter. Or not a boomer shooter, an arena shooter again.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's always the same thing. Hey everyone, we're bringing the arena shooter back because everyone really cares about playing an arena shooter and being amazing at it. And then it has a nice little launch spike and crickets. Yeah. Because people are used to what you were talking about with your phone earlier.
Yeah, there's a fucking tweet that was, and this is technically slightly different, but there's a tweet from someone saying that, and someone tweeted it, so they could have just made shit up, I don't know, but it was something about how their kids or their kid and their friends or something were like talking about game ideas and things, and there was a trend that this person noticed that was the kind of game ideation that came from younger generations was more about resource loops and grinding resources and getting them and spending them in the way, they're maybe thinking like survival-y crafting kind of games. Whereas they said that whenever they were younger, they remember things like basically game ideas were more or less ideas for adventures and stories and stuff that had game mechanics attached. And there's like a pretty decent shift in overall gaming culture towards a little bit more of that. It's more about resources and things as opposed to adventures and fun. Which you say, well, does that mean that you're moving away, in the same sense, we've moved away from arcade games and master loops? Slowly and slower and slower.
Your master loop is also incentivized by, I could continue playing without putting another quarter in the machine.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a little bit of that. Apparently, that was mostly an American thing.
Okay, and when people talk about like poor man shoes.
Yeah,
I don't know what is it of like. There's some joke of that where it's like, oh yeah, bad players who are bankrupt versus skilled people who just play the whole game in like one quarter. But interesting, that's mostly an American thing, not Japan.
Yeah, apparently that was just money hungry Americans. A lot of like Japanese arcade games were substantially easier.
Really?
Which is funny because you would imagine it's the opposite. Apparently that's the case for like old beat 'em ups and stuff.
Wow.
And they just turned the difficulty up moving to the West because the Western distributors were like, more money, please. More profit. But yeah, I feel like we've largely moved away from master loops as a whole. And obviously World of Warcraft was never initially about the master loop because it was exploration and discovery and all those things, and Classic wasn't fucking hard. So I feel like there's a little bit of just cultural shift away from that. Now, obviously, you look everywhere and there's people engaging in master loops, right? There are people who absolutely love fighting games. There are people who love rhythm games. There's people who love, character action games. And like every game has a speedrunner who's destroying it to pieces. And that's like a part of mastery as well. But I feel like the bigger portion of the money is likely in other parts of the gaming experience, just as naturally as games have moved away from being limited to being, well, what's your game loop? My game loop is you shoot man, and you shoot man faster, next level. Whereas now you go, well, what's your game? And it goes, well, here's story experience, loads of big things. Basically in the sense of, like, it's exemplified by story difficulty modes in AAA movie games. That's the exemplification. That's the perfect, like the not the perfect. That's like the final form of it, where it's like you're not actually playing a game. You're kind of watching a movie. So I feel like that's the extreme end. And people are rightfully going, well, where's the video game? But I feel like there's this whole spectrum of video game between you're playing Dive Kick and you're playing The Last of Us in story difficulty. Like there's something in the middle here. Like
that's great.
Yeah, Dive Kick some crack. But yeah, I think there's so much in there, and I think there's so much leaning away from the Master Loop side, and that's evidence in World of Warcraft being a little bit easier and having more players that are happy to engage with it for that sense. And you could even argue, will PvP being maybe like a lower rung, like priority for the developers is probably a part of that too. Because PvP is, I'm not going to get into this PvE or PvP harder, but PvP is like the sweatier one. Like
it is sweatier.
Because you're fighting another opponent, which means that has an infinite loop of scaling up of difficulty. Because, you know, you beat the mythic boss and you beat the mythic boss and it's dead. The boss doesn't go, actually, let's go for another round and I've learned what you do, so you know, I'll beat you there. Whereas PvP has the infinite scaling and that's the part of it. Like, so I feel like it's kind of the logical end of where I was talking about the Master Loop, where I think Master Loops are great, but I think culturally games have moved away from them and gamers have moved away from them a lot, especially aging, I think.
That's why we need to trick them.
Aging will do that as well.
You trick them with their mastery loops.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something to be said as well between sweaty and non-sweaty mastery loops. Maybe we're still good in mastery loops, but there's like more of a, I don't know, sweaty mastery loops are maybe only good in certain circumstances. Right, versus, you know, a turn-based strategy game that's really, you know, quite hard, strategic versus, you know, playing Valorant. Because, like, obviously, the sweaty, you know, mastery loops are humongous in the likes of your Valorants and your, you know, LoLs and stuff. I don't know. Yeah, it is quite interesting then as we age and, you know, time. Well, it's one of those things of, like, at what point do you accept your aging? And
never,
at what point?
Absolutely never.
Yeah, no, I agree.
You die believing you're 18 years of age.
But like, at what point do you just realize, like, I don't have the time to practice in StarCraft 2? Like, unless StarCraft 2 had the dad ladder where you had to, like, send your social security number to Blizzard and, you know, it's like, okay, you're verified, working 40 hours a week, have a family. Okay, we're only going to matchmake you against people who've got, like, a similar amount of time to practice. Because, you know, the dad mastery loop, we can go in and do that.
Yeah.
But when you know, like, oh no, I'm going to be playing against 18-year-old me. He had time to practice.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he skipped school all the time.
Same donuts. I get the vibe. No, so Stormgate's going to do really well then.
Well, Stormgate actually is very aware of that.
Yeah.
Where they've been putting a lot into having their equivalent of the co-op commanders mode.
I was going to bring it up and I thought I'll wait because I'll just send you off in one for like half an hour. If I just go, well, Stormgate and co-op commanders. Yeah, I was going to say about co-op commanders being like, well, if you'd said, well, what are people going to play more in StarCraft? Going to play, you know, the hyper sweaty 1v1 because that's what StarCraft is, or are people going to maybe gravitate to the one that's a little bit more comfy?
It's like, no, follow what people do, and what the StarCraft team learned is people played more co-op commanders in Legacy of the Void than they were playing other game modes.
Because it's less stressful, more relaxing, more comfy. It's not about the master loop, it's about having a fun experience. And not to say master loops can't be fun. Obviously, the whole point is it's fun. It's just a different kind of fun. Yeah, reflexes do get worse with age, but reflexes in the vast majority of cases can be overcome with like knowledge and understanding and ability.
Okay.
That too. Also, like reflexes don't get that much worse, unless you're like top end playing like of a shooter.
I think we can make some Bellular gaming dust for adults.
Oh yeah. Sure.
So
I don't know what I imagine you said dust.
Matt, I'm gonna grab today's show by the balls and firmly throw it in the direction of the news.
Okay.
So.
Oh yeah, it is 10 to 8. Yeah, that makes sense.
Hey everyone, guess what? New store transmogrification set. Sky Captain's Masquerade attire. Coming.
Limited time.
limited time set, leaving store January 1st, where it will then, of course, go into the trading post. But here's what I thought was a bit interesting. Doesn't come with any tendies. Now everyone's going to complain. Blizzard!
Where's my
bonus tendies?
I need my tendies. I don't need nothing.
So I just thought it was interesting. They,
because it's cheaper.
Yeah, but remember in the past, though, they were like, what if we sell people flowers for $5 that have 200 tender in them? And then, what if we sell this transmog set and have some tender? This is them doing one without any tender. Is that a test? Or is it representing a bit of a change in policy? Who knows?
I am assuming that's a test. I don't imagine I don't know if they're going to go back in that.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, it's kind of weird. Like, there's another variant of this that has been data mined, that's more blues. It doesn't seem to have, like, a belt. It doesn't have shoulders.
Fuck all, like.
So it's...
I like the head, but
it's nice, but it's not a full set.
Yeah. This isn't 13 quid, is it? Like,
that is £13.50. Matt, that is, in fact, enough money to buy a single hardlight weapon in Overwatch 2. Because now they're doing weapon, buying weapons, weapon skins in addition. Because usually, right, in Overwatch you buy a character skin and then that has the weapon. Now it's that you can do a separate weapon as well. That was actually another thing that was weird whenever I was playing Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. Full cash shop.
The Ubisoft special.
I know, but because I haven't played an Ubisoft game in so long, I was not used to the Ubisoft special because you have like all of this stuff where, it's just cosmetics. But then there is a bit that's just like, hey, do you want to buy some gear that's useful? And, they do have the, note, this is designed for starting players. And I'm just thinking, like, I'm not buying that. It'll ruin the game. You know what? You're telling me, Mr. Video Game, that I am supposed to enjoy picking up my various little things from, across the land and bringing them back and crafting them together and doing all of this. Or I could just buy it. Like, I was enjoying picking them up and crafting them and going around your very pretty Pandora that the developers at Ubisoft Massive made. And like, no, don't do that. What are you doing? You've ruined the game, Eves.
Yeah, but like we were talking about, that's kind of the point, right? Where people can pay to ruin the games themselves because maybe they like the ruined game more.
Eves Gilmore transactions, please. Eves Gilmore transactions. I'll try to.
You got there, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well done. Good job.
I need to learn French so that I can take the piss out of Ubisoft in a more funny way.
I mean, that's dedication to the craft. I would if you come in here and start speaking French, I'd be extremely impressed. Extremely impressed. Unless it was just English in a bad French accent, that'd be funny.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we got that. Now, other things to talk about. What are fun? I mean, we should probably just talk about the things that are going on. So, also on Prime Game, you can get your Tabard of Fury. You don't need to click on it.
Let's go.
Don't need to click. Oh,
Tabard of Fury.
Yo! Oh my God! Hype.
I wonder how I could physically care less.
Well, if you do log into Prime Gaming, if you have access to it, I would recommend doing so because you can claim a full copy of Deathloop, a game that is pretty reasonable, but also Matt doesn't like. Although it is for the Epic Game Store.
God, I bounced off that game so hard.
You really
And
did.
it was fine. There was nothing wrong. I just don't give a shit.
Yeah. In fact, hang on. Your two-factor sign-in code. There you go. I now own a PC copy of Deathloop.
Very nice.
Will I touch that? No. Will me logging in technically count as a daily active user for the Epic Games Store? Yes. Keep that organic growth going, Tim. It is weird the way that everything's like, oh my God, and a Prime Gaming and a Twitch Prime Gaming drop your... Oh, man. Yeah, people are going big for the inorganic growth. It was interesting, Epic, actually. They were saying, they really know that the free games... Or no, it was Amazon talking about how the free games, that's really how they're growing their Prime Gaming. And I'm just thinking, like, people are going there for a freebie. They're not going to do anything else on your platform because you're just bribing them. They're going to take the free sample, eat it, and then keep on going. Because it's not a free sample, it's a free product. Anyway, so there's that. There's the December trading post, which I do believe it continues the... let's see, what is our total?
Oh, the most expensive trading post yet is our headline. So there you go.
Oh.
There you go. It's bad.
Yeah, so...
Storm Rider, Stormhammers. From the future. Very good.
Would you like... And Helm, would you like to complete your transmog? Now you can.
They're fantastic.
I mean, they're nice. You know, you definitely want to tenderize some meat with that hammer. Just look at it.
Yeah. I'm not sure the efficacy of that as a weapon, but as a tenderizer, sound.
Yeah.
Sound.
Blade Master's Sword and Stone.
Wait, that's a chest piece, I believe.
It is chest piece.
That's interesting.
Yep.
Makes sense because it's on the chest, but for some reason I just thought it would be head.
Yeah, no. So there's that chest piece. We got the Scarlet Trappings and Crusader Helm.
Nice. Oh,
there you go.
Very good, very good.
Yes, you can be a bit like that, and then, you know, people will be like, kind of remind me of that like pack of 5 people who came to the World War II reenactment dressed up as the SS. Love that discourse on Twitter. Good. So there you go. Anyway, no, hey, stuff looks... It does look pretty cool. I mean, it's all those, you know, rad colors and stuff. But yeah, so there's that going on. And more simple things and stuff. Of course, we got all the hunter weapons, the shaman weapons. I kind of forgot. I've not really bought barely any of them. Do you know what it is, right? It's whenever Blizzard, you give me that partial transmog set. But as a user who uses transmog, I know that, like, every shade of the same color is ever so slightly different across all of your transmogs, that I kind of won't be able to mix and match as much as I think I will, because the colors will be slightly off and it'll make me angry. Oh yeah, this is the other thing. We're getting pets for our monthly now. Not really. I don't know. Pet doesn't really... To me, doesn't feel like enough. But let's talk about the total costs. So, folks, we started off with 15 items for... See, that's interesting, right? 15 items for 5,025. Now we're all the way up to 9,800. Now, that being said, it does cost a little bit more because of the class sets. So if it wasn't for the class sets, then this would be, I suppose, a little cheaper than November. Anyway, they are getting more expensive, which is rather interesting. You can also see, you know, they did the Corsage, pack there in August, along with another bonus. The High Scholars pack with its 500. Then, of course, the War Within pre-order in November for the tenders. So it's kind of interesting to see, up to 34 items now, 15 at the start. So your cost per item is, not radically different. It's just there are more items. Now, some of this was always going to happen. They, in fact, have a new UI that splits out returning items. But, overall, it's getting a bit more expensive. It is what it is, but I suppose...
Where does it end?
Good question. But we, we're not talking about there being a transmog pack with a bunch of tenders, unless they manage to do that within the next few days, which they might.
Where does it end, Michael?
Where does it end, Matt?
Is this going to be like, is it going to be 20k cost at this time next year? Is that it?
Who knows? I mean,
how intentional is this? Has to be has to be in some way intentional, right?
Yeah. I do think that they would do well to increase how much our base... I even just love the way that the Tackworth called it base allowance.
Yeah.
Right, it's like, here's your transmogrification food stamps.
Yeah, sorry. I guess we must have been good in February, did our chores like... Look at that, we cleaned up the leaves in July and August.
The 500 in February is owning Shadowlands.
Yeah. Should have been fucking 50,000 for that, like.
But not owning Shadowlands, owning Dragonflight. I think they should increase what you can earn by default, absolutely.
Yeah.
It should be 1,500 a month, which, me saying that means that the maximum they'll do is 1,250, but it should be more, definitely. Yeah, because even though there are returning items, still does feel like it's kind of inflating, especially when that candy cane sword one-hander is 600. Like, to me,
take the piss, like.
Yeah, that just kind of felt like you're trying to cash in Christmas a bit, which I suppose everyone does.
Yeah, of course. It's literally everyone. That's the whole point.
Ah, dear, yeah. So that's what was going on there. What other things we got in our wonderful document? Ah, yes, Matt, there is. Now, I know, Matt, you have been... This is something that it really impacts you deeply and personally. There are big changes to rares in the Forbidden Reach.
I can't believe it. The Forbidden Reach.
It's a new...
God, I forgot that existed.
It's a new game.
This is exciting. It's new.
TLDR, because of lower populations, they've made some changes so that less of them are up at once, so the players who are there are funneled in more effectively, and then to compensate for there being less up, they have increased the drop rates. There you go. /story. The news is done.
Yeah, nice. Good.
Range check API restrictions being partially removed. Blizzard have done that.
Sound.
Which is sound. Basically, the stuff on like enemies is being, those restrictions are being eased a little bit, but the stuff on other players is not. It's just Blizzard wanting to control the amount of automation people can do. And I think that's totally reasonable and fair. It is their game. They should be controlling that.
100%. 100 billion%.
We've got the Warden set that does change colors.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind, Matt. Screw all this. Screw it. Forget it. Forget it. Forget it. Be gone. Where are the flight stones? Where are they, Matt?
Everywhere?
Where are the flight stones?
No. Flight stones not everywhere?
No. We have a topic on this. God damn it. Where are the flight stones, Blizz? This is something that I have been hearing in the community quite a lot lately. People finding for their alts especially that flight stones are that limiting factor. And I suppose, certainly speaking as someone doing raid, yeah, you don't get that many flight stones for clearing raid. Like, you killed a boss, here's 45. I don't know. Definitely feels kind of stingy. So, on your alts, you do get that 50%, discount, which is fairly good. But as our top man of the news, Dakor, has said, who we'll be seeing tomorrow for the Christmas banquet that we do as a company, you do a ton of dungeons in your alt, only to come back with a few hundred flight stones eaten up by a few upgrades. Heaven forbid it's on a weapon.
Yeah, I'd say that's a good point. Yeah, I was going to upgrade a couple things yesterday in raid, and then I looked and there's like all my fly stones are going to go into one, like into 3 item levels on my staff, and I went, yikes.
And here's the thing.
Big yikes.
Should the limiting factor in your upgrades not more be your quests?
Yeah, that's the point.
To which I say, Blizzard, juice your engagement with a 100% flight stone bonus weekend. Although that is totally something. I think they've done that before. Maybe they have. I don't know. Maybe I'm mad. But I do think, well, okay, let's see. Are the usual suspects making tweets? Groxy has made a tweet. Big surprise. Take away the 2,000 cap. Feast famine. Please increase. I am begging. Jet from Limit. Where did my flight stones go? Either I have 2,000 or I have 0. That's my life. Yes, I think there should be more flight stones. Just for doing stuff. I mean, just raid. Come on. Come on. Give me 100 boss.
Yeah, the flight stones.
Give me 500. Give me 2,000 a boss. Not really. But more. They should do a little more.
Yeah, there's... Maybe my brain doesn't work very well. Well, it's a given, but I feel like... I'm not entirely certain flight stones are even necessary sometimes. I can get it for edge cases of you need to upgrade your stuff really hard and fast. And also with the discount, you still want to limit alt upgrades. But there's definitely cases I'm like...
Well, as far as I'm concerned,
maybe
flight stones...
if crest stuff is tuned pretty well, and then like is the answer account-wide flight stones, and you get a shit ton of them all the time.
Yes.
And you get plenty from doing quests as well.
And there are then places to put your flight stones other than gear.
I mean, that's kind of a given, right? But that in the same way that you could throw your Valor into resource packs and stuff.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be a big, oh, well, here's another system of design for your Flightstones.
True, because then if you do that, then Blizzard are going to be like, no, but then for every season we have to have a Flightstone vendor that also has a whole bunch of things. Like, I get that can sort of be a thing. But yeah, I don't know, Flightstones, I definitely think something should perhaps be done there, because like one of the faster ways to get those Flightstones is to redo narrative content. But as we've already talked about, and Blizzard have talked about, they know that there's diminishing returns.
Yeah, you can spend Flightstones on rep.
Okay, never mind, that's really good.
I forgot that.
Give us more Flightstones.
Yeah. It feels like there's a little bit of just and this is what it comes down to. It comes down to the actual tuning of just here. How does number feel good? Does number feel good or number feel bad? And the answer is number feel good mostly, number feel slightly bad at now, but that's because the other number feels better. So that number feels better. Old number feels old number that was bad is now good. So the good number is now worse than the now good number.
And this is the kind of consultancy report that is available from our organization at the corporate enterprise tier of 15 grand a month. So Blizzard, if you want Matt to solve your problems and give you actionable solutions like what he just said, you know the place to go.
Gotta be really brutally honest. If I had said that in anything resembling English, that might have been actually quite compelling.
Yeah, because
however, I just went old number, good, bad, no. Yeah.
Matt's just like Glorbo, 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 Glorbo. Mm-hmm. Now, speaking of Glorbo, Matt, did you know that over 3 million keys have been timed in the first week? This is our next story.
Someone's been working really hard.
I am briefly going to go and, as we all do in World of Warcraft, every 90 minutes perform some biology to get out of raid. No, I was very silly. Have I eaten any food today? No. Did I have a big, delicious pot of coffee? Yes. Does that now mean I am
fucked?
A little woozy? Yes.
Nice.
To be clear. 0. So,
I
saw
you sneak in the wee fucking yeah.
That's how you get him. No, I'm just going to grab a Huel pot noodle. Sweet. Because the show would not be good if I just, I don't know, felt lightheaded and weird. But this is...
every time I do, the shows are better, so... Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, Season 3 Mythic appears to be off to a great start. We've got numbers shared by Night Stalker to us, which have been amazing. And then also Banshee IRL, who has been doing a whole bunch of compilation of stuff as well. Kind of fascinating. And as you'll see, definitely check out today's video as well after you've watched this stream, because I go a little bit more into some of the raid numbers. But just to focus on M+ for a bit, WoW is actually getting some good numbers that are heartening. You know, because for the longest time doing these data dive videos, it was always line down sad.
Oh no, yeah.
And now it's
every time
line flat, which means people not leave. Good. It's quite cool. Mm-hmm. Oh, have fun. I'll be back very quickly.
Yeah. Let's take a look and see, because I haven't seen any of these whatsoever. I've been back for I was back on Sunday, and I've been jet lagged for a week, so I basically might as well not exist as far as this game's concerned. Oh, Night Stalker? No, it's Night Stalker. There we go. Yeah, so let's look at that. Week 1. Man, that is a shit ton of dungeons. Jesus Christ. I think that's the fun thing, right? When you think about how... Actually, this is the weird part. I really wish we had actual people numbers, because I think seeing 474,000 Ataldazars is pretty interesting, and most of them in time. I'd love to know how many people's doing that. That would be genuinely fascinating to me. How many people does it take to do these? How many people are doing 10 of these, or how many are like me and doing 2 or 3 a week? When I was back. So this is actually kind of it's genuinely, that's so many, and a lot of them are being timed. That leans back into what I was talking about with ease, and this is something we've talked about at fucking length with Mythic Plus historically. We're just hey, this is annoying. People don't like failing. Stop making them fail loads. So decently high ratios of success does imply that people are going, well, I'm going to do the thing and have the fun with it. Well, it is also interesting seeing the ratio difference. Murazon's Rise kicking people's asses, which is cool. How many people are single-handedly carrying the bloated, rotting corpse of the M Plus gameplay loop? See, T King, I actually think that's an opinion that's pretty divorced from reality. I think a lot of people are like actually really enjoying it. I mean, obviously, right? If these are numbers, millions been done. You could argue, but they're just doing it for the gear. From what I've seen culturally across, like seeing people in like across Twitter, across Twitch, and things like that. I think M Plus is maybe just for like the audience split. I think a lot of people who are watching us are more interested in story and raids and kind of generally older players in the sense of like World of Warcraft for what it was. Less so than what it's in some ways become. But you look at like the subculture of M Plus and it's clearly pretty big. Like it's clearly pretty major. Just over it after having them for 2 expansions. Legion burned you out. Yeah, that's one of the things for people who join like now. M Plus is a pretty like actually solid gameplay mode. I guess it's kind of frustrating depending on what you're playing M Plus for, but the actual like loop by itself is pretty fine. Problem is those stats are skewed because of the sheer number of paid runs. I mean, probably, but there's no telling how skewed, and I'd say they're probably reasonably small compared to what you would like, It's not really like half as paid runs. I imagine it's not as bad as you think, especially not as bad as it used to be because they fired trade services over there. I'm sure it's still plenty, but not that much. I used to hate M Plus, now I do it a lot. Yeah, but it's kind of quietly improved enough that I enjoy it way more than I ever used to. And I played a lot of M Plus in Legion. I played a lot of Legion, and I enjoyed it there. A lot of that was because I actually I liked playing Prop Paladin a lot then. BFA, I didn't play too much. Shadowlands, not very much M Plus, but like in Dragonflight, season 1, season 2 better, but so far I've actually been really very enjoying like what limited M Plus I did. Now I'm not going to be a big pusher, obviously, but generally, yeah, it's like the quiet small improvements they've continually made to core class gameplay, to dungeons, and to the M Plus. Like, I guess the system is at a macro level has just been working well. M Plus with Guild Friends is so good right now. A lot of people have a purview on it due to pugs, and that's exactly where I turn around and say, okay. Pugs are generally worst problem. I've had more fun since playing with my guild more and actually avoiding pugs. Pugs aren't terrible for me, but to me it kind of falls into the category of the easier it is to achieve your reasonable goals, the less trouble you're going to have with pugs. Because the problem isn't pugs naturally having a lot of like friction with each other. It's that, this is going to be a bit weird to explain, but like you'll have your people coming in, your adventurers coming into clear dungeon, and they'll just, if they're walking through it, they don't give a shit. It's when a wall appears, then they start fighting amongst each other, and that's where the problems crop up. So the kind of easier it is to accomplish your goals, the more you're going to have literally just more people going, well, yeah, do pugs kind of suck whenever it gets hard? Yeah, but it's not going to get hard, so we're going to be kind of okay. And that's why you see, like Banshee IRL, who's doing excellent work reporting stuff on Twitter.
New God comp, game dead. Dev's bad.
I haven't gotten there yet. 3.1 mil keys this season, 14.8 keys per hour since he started 4 keys per second. Fucking hell.
There you go.
That's big numbers. Imagine like 4 keys per second. I don't so how long does a run take?
Ding. All of those are keys?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I'm not going to like record that and see if you're accurate, but I don't take you for a drummer, but
oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was. I just thought it was fascinating.
Flavor of the month, Demon Hunter, of course.
Oh, wild.
And Paladins are just Paladins.
And Monk, Tiny.
Jesus Christ.
I did put a Reddit post that I saw. It's just called Blizzard Windwalker Monk's Dead, which we'll talk about later. So, Jordan did another update, which is still 4 keys a second.
That's bad. That's timed a second. So it's probably closer to
Per Night Stalker,
4.5 or 5.
You're looking at like an 84%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're looking at like 4.5 to 5 keys actually done per second, which is nuts.
Start of Season 3 for keys has been notably busier than the start of Season 2. 27.5% more tank title holders, 22% more healer title. How much can this be attributed to back-to-back good affix weeks? Interesting thought.
Yeah, again, that's the thing where how much of that's going to be intentional on their end that they went, because I imagine they don't just let the affixes be whatever. Like,
It's just like, what if we do the good ones that people find to be fun?
yeah, what if
Darn.
Game good? What if game good? What if we make the game good? Will people play it? I wonder, which is obviously a very stupid thing to say, but it is ultimately like the point is this is generally like actually getting the fundamentals, the details, the execution is going substantially better than it almost kind of ever has been. Or it's not ever has been, but like in terms of the upward trend of Blizzard are doing the game right. And people are playing it. In Raid.
Yeah.
And also at M+.
Line.
Holy shit.
Line go up.
Or at least not fall down, like basically.
Yeah.
Also, this is like I don't find myself caring too much about the like minutiae because I'm never going to be playing like at this level whatsoever. But it is interesting how much this is just flavor of the month and strong at the top of the titles. It's almost as if at the end of a range things get weird and extreme because you're never going to have an even representation in the title range. Not a chance.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
a chance.
Yeah.
You got comp. Oh, fuck.
Oh, no.
I don't care. I'm going to just...
Nope, Jack's just killed the game.
I'm just going to walk in and Sunfire and Moonfire and press some buttons.
Let's see. In this video, I will talk about why these god comps are worse than prior expansions and how Blizzard's planning and shooting coupled with predictable player nature are the primary causes, which is probably very true. So we got some points here that Dacron, our team, has drafted up here. So very limited testing windows, non-affix keys, no proper item level scaling, and little to no tuning in PTR have yet again set things up for failure, and the need for many waves of hotfixes, not only for the dungeons but also classes and specs. The health of mobs wasn't scaled up enough from testing, so crowd control is king, trumping the damage output of the group when you're in higher level keys, which obviously will then bias your comp towards people who have got good predictable CC. So apparently the new god comp, right, is we got Vengeance DH. We've got Ogvoker. What a surprise! Oh my god.
Flabbergasted is the term.
Of course, Ogvoker does a lot of damage by, giving other people damage. So, you got a lot of damage there. And yeah, you got a Pressing Roar, Sigil of Silence, which can then be extended by a Pressing Roar to fully lock down mobs for a long time. And it's the weird thing, right? We were talking about this in Guild, one of the raids. It was me and Pop, who's also our Discipline Priest. She's way better Discipline Priest than I am, with way more gear. I should play WoW more. IRL be busy, man. But actually, it should be less busy soon. I'll have things to talk about. Anyway, she was saying, like, no, don't take away our PI. It's fun PIing people. And that's the thing.
But it's fun.
The way that I can just, like, be like, hey, Luke... And then he goes, woo, does more damage.
Does 400k on pull.
Yeah, it's great. Because it feels fun. And then that's the thing, because this here, of an Ogvoker oppressing, roaring, and, extending a Sigil of Silence, that's really, like, that should be good game design, shouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Great, cooperative play, awesome. And then, do you know what ends up being weird? There's a little goblin that appears that just says, "Hey, bring the player, not the class." And then we're stuck into the same old, do we bring the player, not the class? Or do we have class identity? What do we do? That has been the, like, freaking prevailing WoW discussion for such a long time. Be it Wrath, be it, I think Wrath is where it was really coined. I think it was, Ghostcrawler was talking about that. But yeah, interesting problem.
I just love, like, the conversation, because every time in my head I'm just listening to it, it's like, what you're arguing for is, do we set the thermostat to minimum or maximum? And you go, bro, what? Did you ever hear of the middle?
Oh, I clearly set it to echo.
Yeah, did you ever hear, did you ever hear of
That was
the...
bad.
Yeah, that's awful. Yeah. So yeah, straight up. Okay, what if we set it like somewhere in the middle? Where what if there's class identity and we look at outliers that are really dangerous and kind of take it down a little bit? Because that's even the part where, like, imagine they just nerfed PI a wee bit, so it's less an outlier. It's like, well, what is the problem? The principle or the result? I think that's I should say, is the problem the principle or the outcome? Because a lot of times people will say, well, the principle's the problem because obviously that's how we got here. Then you go, no, just fix the outcome. It's like, yeah, just nerf it.
I guess what's interesting...
Just tune it down.
Interesting here is, this is going to be from that higher end perspective. Even looking at some of the video comments here, people are like, I'm at 2940, IO Mistweaver.
Yeah.
And you're like...
Fucking good for you, holy shit.
The difference between tanks has never been such a large gap. I have a friend who mains Brewmaster, and I found running keys with him is significantly harder than with a Vengeance DH, despite him being a great Brewmaster. The same can't be said for Blood DK, Prot Warrior, and Guardian. The immense amount of group-wide damage control is just leagues above others. So then it's quite strange, because a solution to this, and this is where it kind of gets interesting, is to give everyone the God Comp, by which I mean homogenize utility across classes and specs, so that then, to access that, immense amount of CC that is disproportionately useful in an infinite scaling world, everyone can get that. But now we have less class identity.
Yeah.
Because, you could even say, well, we'll have a different flavor of CC from this class to this class, but you have 13 classes. You can't make 13 different flavors of CC. Not really. Not in terms of your fundamentals. So it's a really, it's a challenging problem from Blizz. Because if they are going to have differentiation in these types of CC, they're going to have this problem. That's just the way it's going to be.
And not even just CC, in literally everything.
Yeah.
There's always going to be like that kind of difference. You have access to certain tools, and it's the same thing that happens in every single video game that's in any capacity competitive, and has a level of difficulty to it. There will always be a meta. The only difference that actually, what actually shows up here is where does the meta appear? Does the meta appear for, for me? Am I ever going to get declined because people whisper in my boomkin and I say yeah, and they go, and not invite me? Is that going to be made 10 to 12 to 15? Is that going to be a thing? Or am I going to be fine until it hits 2025? Or is it fine until you go to you're hitting 28 or 29 or something like that, where it's literally the only the top 20 players give a shit, and then it trickles down? Because obviously a trickle down of meta is probably going to stop at some point or close enough to it. And it's if it's flat enough, it might not matter for so long. And it's just, it's frustrating to me because it's just the optimizing the fun out of it in a way. Yeah. And that's the thing where, a 2940 Mistweaver, yeah, you're 2940. That's pretty fucking high. You're starting to get out of the range of Blizzard should give a fuck about you. And that's that sounds rude. But it's still no, there's definitely a part where, yeah, if you want things to be different, they have to be different. They cannot be the same and also different. It's okay, what would you maybe there's a case of just flattening, and clearly it's not flat enough in a bunch of ways. But it's going to happen eventually. At some point, someone will say Vengeance Demon Hunter is better. Why? Because it has this thing that is better for these 4 dungeons than the other one. Maybe you get a point where it's okay, well, Vengeance Demon Hunter is good for these 4 dungeons, and Prot Paladin's good for these 4 dungeons because they have specific tools. It's yeah, that's just homogenization. People don't like that. Because what happens here, and this is kind of interesting, there's a way to do it in talents, right? But the thing that's kind of scuppy is you homogenize for the top end, and that spreads across the entire player base.
Does indeed.
Balance does not do that to the same extent. Homogenization is the top 100 Mythic Plus players are kind of frustrated that in order to be the top 100 Mythic Plus players, they have to play a class that they're not super fond of. And it's like, well, how do we fix that? Yeah, well, what if we make no one have fun? Which is obviously that's an exaggeration, but what if we then reduce the thing for everyone across the entire game? And that's like ultimately where I think the like homogenization problem comes from. And I'm just like, no, make these fucking things different, and then just have a team that addresses them, flatten it where possible, and just try to flatten it so it's not that bad. Because, and this is a thing that I always kind of notice, there's people the people at the top end are always going to have problems because they're never not going to have, because they're
the top end of any game works typically.
Yeah, because they are breaking the game because of the infinite scaling. You'll see less of this in.
Oh yes, Mythic. Blizzard has literally designed a self-breaking game.
Yeah,
that's what infinite scaling does in a situation like this.
Yeah, it's the same when you're playing like Risk of Rain. I was like, well, what are you going to do? Well, obviously the whole point is to get busted as hell. That's literally the point. It's almost like you're playing Vampire Survivors and you're complaining about not having to like dodge anymore. You're like, yeah, that's the point of the game. And the point of this is to be so hard you can't do it, which is pushing their classes to the absolute limits, which means a 0.1% difference in capability becomes the only thing that matters at a certain point. And that's kind of what's happening here a lot of the time. And like, obviously there's a pretty big cultural problem where I see people saying like, who's there? Yeah, I had people deny me on normal rigs. I was running Balanced Druid. Yeah, that's people being dumb. I don't really know what you do about that, but homogenization isn't really the answer.
Yeah.
I think the answer for that is, ironically, the answer to that is make it easy enough that it's fine. Or go for cyclical balance and just change it randomly. Just change it randomly over the week, so happens. I think. Something else. I know as a survival, the higher you get, the less people care as long as you play well and have good logs. Yeah, player base at lower levels live by tier lists. That is one of that's like a cultural perception problem. And I think that can be solved as long as the balance is reasonably good for long enough. But there isn't really too much to like actually solve that. I don't know, I see people demanding OGs and like 14 keys. Yeah. Like it's not an easy solve. It is pretty awkward. But I mean, yeah, good point, Souls. And if you're getting denied a raid because your class, it might be because you're not doing well and the class is an excuse. So I wouldn't say the class would be an excuse in that case, but what I would say is if you have like decent logs and you go, yeah, well, I have proven I can do this, and go for it. And if you don't have logs, then it is the rough situation of get a guild. Get a guild.
So much is solved by that.
Yep, and that sounds pretty like awful as like in like a dismissive way, but it sort of is kind of the point of the way this where the responsibility lies for the gameplay experience is kind of weird, where it is ultimately down to you at the end of the day, and being denied a little bit or for a couple of groups sucks ass. But it won't be the end of the world, and persistence will actually kind of get you there. Maybe you're applying for groups that are literally like, basically, you see the note and it's like, there's a group blast and a wipe. It's like maybe if you apply for a group that's just someone who's clearly stoned and just like, I'm going to see how this raid goes. You apply for that group, you're probably in, which is better. And that's the thing where that's actually happened. That's one of the things that I would never like pug a raid, probably, because I couldn't be bothered with that shit. I just do it with the guild. But when I did do that a lot more, I would always opt for the shittier looking raids, because I would like obviously not have logs and that stuff like that. Once I had curve and logs, then I'd apply for the good ones. But there is a little bit of a you do have to figure things out in that sense. Forsaken Wolf, size and bad availability in small server. Yeah, there is a case of sometimes it just sucks, and Blizzard can make small steps to fix community issues, because this is more of a community and cultural issue than there's anything else. And some of it boils down to the like I was talking about, people want the easy challenge, the easy clear the thing and it's over. That's kind of.
Well, Matt, I've just received word from a trusted source.
Oh dear.
Liquid THD has just tweeted, just a reminder, it's never too late to delete Augmentation Evoker.
It is too late because that shows weakness. And also...
Nothing I love from throwing a THD tweet at Matt.
Yeah, it's just a fucking fly to swat, isn't it? Like,
you see, it's great. You got fucking basic reactions and comebacks. And,
yeah, that's fine, but also fuck off. Like, it's an element of people are allowed to speak to their own incentives and their own desire and stuff, but if you're speaking to your own incentive and own desire, then you can't be too mad when someone with a different incentive or desire tells you to fuck off. That's kind of thing. They can always, there are always going to be meta chasers, but most
I wonder.
Yeah, like obviously there is that point of tryhards are really annoying but meta. Good players aren't. And then the best are again. Because it's a case of like, it's almost like, what was I about to say? Terrain? What the fuck is wrong with my brain? There's this just slice of these players that think they're good. They're not. These players are good. And this is where anything actually matters. It's just that what matters skips this bit because it doesn't matter here and they know it. And then goes this bit where they think it matters and it doesn't. Yeah. Which is kind of awkward.
And it is like, it's one of those things where this is an infinite problem in gaming. Yeah, I hate to say, there is no easy solution here, so I don't really belabor it too much more. Yeah. Just that, the traditional problem that rears its head is doing so again. I think, like, Jack isn't exactly advocating for any extreme solutions here. I think he's more just saying, like, careful and early tuning, balancing work, a little bit more of a focus in this kind of problem on LFR, and ultimately what will be in people's heads is Season 1 will have had meta picks, but not a god comp. So sometimes we can talk in absolutes when to maybe people who are most at the top, it's going to be something in terms of degrees. And maybe we are just, the thermostat is a few degrees too high and it needs to be lower.
Yeah, there was something else I wanted to say. I was just saying the problem is you also have people like Tettles releasing bullshit videos on M+, suggesting you reroll to the meta classes. Like, just stop. That's an interesting one because...
No, it's not his fault, because like, what his job is to, for the very high-end Mythic Plus audience who want the, good quality information on what is efficacious in, along their chosen goals. Maybe it would be easier if you started off by saying, hello, fellow re-rollers, here's what we're doing this week. I know that's fair. I'm not trying to roast you or anything, but it's like providing a legitimate service for the people who want that. I suppose so much of this, right, so much of the problem is people take that way out of context. I'm not saying you are, by the way, not at all. I mean, like, when the God Comp was happening in Season 2 and people were complaining that, like, they just could not get into keys in the group finder. And, if you're talking about a 15 or a 20, God Comp shouldn't matter. Because so much of this... so much of these Mythic Plus things, they're a problem whenever number scaling means you literally cannot survive Tyrannical without pulling some bullshit. Or maybe cannot survive a certain mob pack and Fortified without pulling some bullshit.
Yeah. That's more or less what I was going to say. It's like, it doesn't...
what if Mythic Raids had Mythic Plus? And, it just, the percentages went up and up and up and up. There would then be... there'd be a time where the only way you could get through a certain part of a boss is to pull some cheesy bullshit, because that's the nature of infinite scaling. Mm-hmm. So it's quite tricky for Blizzard's, from Blizzard's sort of position then. Though I suppose it's like, 28s, 29s, that's really as high as it goes, right?
Yeah, more or less.
For most people.
More or less.
I wonder, right, I'm not advocating for this, but how much of this, if Mythic Plus was clamped at Mythic Plus 20, how much of this would still be a discussion? And I don't mean that as like a comeback or a slapdown. I mean, legitimately, I would be interested because the God Comp still would perform best, but perhaps it wouldn't be as literally required to get past certain mechanics or packs. And maybe there's, something in that. Basically, TLDR, infinite scaling, very hard.
Yeah.
When it hits your game design.
Design thing to break. Everyone looks at it and goes, why is this breaking? Why is this thing that says on the side, this will break when pushed too far? Yeah, why is it breaking when pushed too far?
Why has Blizzard designed a mechanic in these mobs that's literally impossible outside of specific situations? Mm-hmm. Probably not a design choice. That's a design choice that's a result of scaling, not a result of Blizzard doing game design.
Yeah.
So, what interesting fun? What other things are there to talk about?
I love fun. I wish I could have it again.
Oh my! Well, Japan is taking him out. There you go. Sorry, Matt, you've peaked. It's never going to be like this again.
Fuck! I hate this country and everyone in it.
Certainly, after being in America and then coming back to Northern Ireland, you do just sort of think like, I suppose there's a reason, those Americans, they seem to have a lot of positivity and gumption. Mm-hmm. You come back here and everyone's self-deprecating. Nah, why would I do that? It'll probably be shite. I'll stay inside instead. And, you're like, maybe America good. Maybe.
Never been, couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you.
What else be there to talk about? Because I'm kind of aware that there's a whole bunch of stuff here where, we could talk about, hey, everyone, there's a new meta title reward from the Emerald Tree. And it's because they accidentally put the Forest Lord's Antlers on the treasure achievement instead of the meta achievement. Oops. But rather than Rug Pull People, they've now put Of the Emerald Dream title on the meta achievement. Matt, what is your analysis? What is your this is CNN, middle of a war. We need a headline. Go.
I think meta achievements are for insane people half the time. Depends on which ones they are, but
at least one of them literally is.
Like the amount that they ask of you in terms of gameplay time for a lot of these meta achievements is completely crazy, as well as the variety of gameplay understanding that you require to actually get them. It's kind of mad.
He's turning my joke into a segment. This is shocking.
Very rarely for me. Because it's mad. It's all
what they are. Because I'm quite enjoying the new zone.
Yeah. I want the title, but I'm not going to get it.
So, I'll tell you, there is a nice thing that's happened. Something that I was really talking about wishing had happened ages ago. And that is, they've actually de-Shadowlanced the Covenant abilities. Did you look at that?
Disgusting.
Now, yeah. There we go. We made him happy with pretty pictures. And some of these are like, it's not just the palette swap. Some of them actually, they do look quite good. I just thought it was really neat. You look at old Phaline Swamp, there's some video... Stomp. Yeah, there it is. In the Shadowlands one, this is Wowhead footage capture.
Very pretty.
So there's Shadowlands. There's a new one.
Yeah,
lovely.
The new one is nicer.
Yeah, Blizzard have actually done a really damn good job here. And in fairness, when it comes to likes of spell effects, man, their team's good. Especially look at Elysian Decree. Now you might need to change that to not be Elysian Decree. With its name. Well, let's see what the Hunt looks like. I always thought the Hunt was a cool spell. Yeah. And yeah, let's go. They can make it bigger. Just make it bigger.
I was gonna say they dropped the ending bit off it. You see the boom. Or maybe it's just harder to see. Yeah, maybe it's hard to see. Yes. Yeah.
But anyway, it's one of those things. This is like.
Oh yeah, I haven't used Convoke. Oh, this is PDR, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, so you've got a new Convoke that... have you looked at new Convoke?
No.
Oh, yeah, look at this. So, of course, there's old Convoke.
I like Convoke, okay.
A new Convoke is... Look at that!
It's a bit...
but it's Druid things.
Yeah, I'm going to say I actually prefer... Or am I stupid? Let's see. Because I'm trying to see how fast
it's the swirlies around you.
Oh, it's the same speed. Yeah, it's just the first one looked busier, so it felt more aggressive. That second one looks like you're having a wee sleep. You're having a wee sleep.
So yeah, I mean, there's not a humongous, much else to talk about with it. But this is it's one of those things. Did they have to do it? No. Is it really nice they shipped this? Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's nice.
And it's that the sort of saying, the way you do the small things is how you do everything. One of the things Blizzard would sometimes mess it up in the details. And this is a really good example of them getting it right in the small things, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's good. That's all very nice. I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the thing, right? This is a part of them having their priorities may be the wrong term, but it's the same thing where you go, well, okay, well, here's the problem where nothing was good, and now everything is good. And you go, well, how'd you get from nothing to everything? And the answer is one step at a time. Because they're like, well, what are we going to fix today? I'll fix that. What are we going to fix today? I will fix that. What are we going to fix today? We'll fix that. We'll fix that. We'll fix that. We'll fix that. And it just seems like they have people who have the combination of institutional will and the free time to go, I'm going to fix that.
Yeah,
I'm going to fix that.
Do that for long enough.
Yeah.
And what are you left with?
Everything's fixed. Yeah, it is like, this is going to sound fucking ridiculous, but it's the equivalent of they wash their dishes after they're done with them.
God damn, I was going to say that.
Yeah, they wash their dishes after they're done with them, and that means that like you've washed the dish and now your dishes are clean, and they have a clean desk, as opposed to when you go, well, I don't really have the time to clean that, and then 3 days later you're like, ah, fuck.
It's like I'm thinking
This
about
is a nightmare.
I'm thinking about how I need to fix my apartment this weekend, and I know if I was just 10%, a bit cleaner every time normally,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have to do that, and that's just that's exactly what this is. But for the game. As for other things, because I'm trying to be judicious here, because some of this is older news from, that we haven't talked about. But some of it's just like stuff, but I don't think really stuff that like, I don't know, that we all kind of want to talk about and listen to. I did think though it was cool that a jump dash ability has been dynamite for dynamic ground mounts. Just down a little bit.
Jump dash? More like
Sorry.
start dash. The prototype.
Now to be clear, nothing's like exists. It's just this is stuff that's happening when people are data mining and they're sort of seeing references to spells and stuff. Like in Guild Wars 2, you get the raptor and it has a jump forward. I mean, that is the fucking Tokyo Drift Raptor. It has a turning circle. It feels kind of satisfying. But it's so cool. And you can go and you can do ground races on your mount. Now, imagine you got jump dashes. Now, what are we doing?
Jumping and dashing.
We're jumping and dashing in a race.
I'll take that.
A race for your ground mount. Ground mount races, jump up a tree, jump through a hole. There you go.
Done.
What amazing ideas you're here watching this show for. But like that'd be cool. Because dragon riding races are cool. Have some world quests that are ground mount races. Cool. Guild Wars 2 does all that. When Guild Wars 2 does it, it's neat. I suppose what I'm also interested in, though, is are we going to get different types of abilities in the same way the Algarian Storm Rider? If you fly near walls, it builds up static charges. If you hit 10 static charges, you get a button that costs no vigor and just makes you go super fast for like 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds. But you're going so fast, you've got a limited turning circle. And that's a cool thing that makes that mount behave differently. And I know they could be just doing that for that mount. But it would be neat if we had just more special abilities for, for different ones. Of course, for your ground mounts in Guild Wars 2, you've got, or so for all your mounts, you've got your Raptor, Springer, Skimmer, Jackal, Griffin, Roller Beetle, Warclaw, Skyscale, and Siege Turtle. So quite a lot.
That's a lot.
And each mount family there has its own categories. Now, not every raptor is a raptor because of the way that the skins work, but broadly, that's that's how they all go, and it just feels really satisfying. Like the roller beetle is basically like a crazy beetle that rolls about and you're sort of controlling it like a chariot thing. So it's doing jumps. You can jump off a ramp on that thing. It feels good. So. I think that something like this, there you go. Ground mount races have huge potential. Dakor says at the bottom of our document.
Yeah, we're at that point where you can now see and go, well, what's Blizzard going to make and do? The fucking ground mount races? The world's their oyster now.
Put them in a delve.
Yeah, the world's their oyster now.
Put them in a delve. It was cool, when you're fighting Tindrell. You mount up and fly about the place.
Yeah.
And it's the thing, is it a crazy, mechanically hard thing? No. Is it thematic? In this big boss fight, yeah, that makes it great. So,
I mean, that's literally the point. That it's okay. Well, I was gonna draw a comparison to the fucking underwater thing in Eternal Palace, which would be dumb because that sucked. But even then, it's like the vibe is they went for a thing of, well, is this the most important thing? No, is it literally like a fantasy thing? Is it just an aesthetic? Is it just a vibe? Is it just yeah, it's cool to do that. Do you need to do it perfectly? No. All you need to do is do it, and it's good. Well, it's not. It's better than nothing, basically. Which sounds a bit demeaning, but you kind of get the point. Kind of get the point.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, look, imagine wondering what fun new ideas Blizzard will add to WoW instead of what system will ruin it next.
It's almost the world we're in. How wild.
Yeah, that's the point I'm sort of stuck at. I'm like, yeah, this is like it's taken a few months to figure it out. It's taken a few months to get there.
Oh my god, that's really funny. Apparently, if you go to our YouTube channel, our channel in YouTube,
Yes.
it gives you the phone number of a suicide hotline.
It does. And here it gives us the Samaritans. Yeah.
Oh no!
Yeah, we learned that this morning when Menno posted it in Discord and then said he posted it on WoW Circle Jerk. I'm like, yeah, do that.
That is so funny. Okay, it's also there for how to make a pot noodle.
Yeah. Oh, you're looking at our Discord.
Yeah, I'm just reading our Discord.
Yeah, oh, good thing you didn't fucking read the other one.
What's the other one?
Yeah. Oh dear.
Ah!
You picked well.
Yes.
You picked well.
Yes.
Yeah, it's there for everyone. That's literally just
okay.
It's a YouTube thing for the season, I guess. But it was really funny that like the first time we hear that is when it's like the Bellular channel. Shame it's not true. That would have been a great bit.
That would have been a really good bit. Oh yeah, Matt.
That's me.
Vampire Survivors coming to World of Warcraft, 100% confirmed.
Oh, just like fucking Flappy Bird was.
Just like Flappy Bird, yeah. No, just there was this stuff data mine script scene entries, just calling it. They were called Vampire Survivors mode, game mode, client scene, and Vampire Survivors mode, data creatures. What's going on there? You love Vampire Survivors
games, man.
And then we also noticed there's witch hunter hats and guns that appeared in the game and are not in the trading post yet. There is a Dreadlord transmog set as well, though it was listed as in-game shop, so we're not exactly sure. At least one of them, there is a store coloration. So, look, no idea, but that would be kind of crazy. Apparently 10.2.5. What if Blizzard's going to be giving us a little Christmas surprise?
That would be fun.
I mean, hey,
That'd
if
be
you
fun.
haven't got Game of the Year, why not put a Game of the Year inside your game? That said, I think Vampire Survivors wasn't the Game Awards. It was BAFTAs. I think it won a BAFTA for Best Game or something. So, quite interesting, I think. Yeah. There you go. There's that.
Again, what if they're going to put a cool thing in? It's going to be good. Who fucking knows? But,
Experimentation's fun.
yeah, as long as it's all right. Like, as long as it's all right. It has to be okay. We're done.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So, I'm not sure if there is really news that's worth us talking about. Just thinking about the rest of what's sort of here for our show notes.
Yeah. It's been a fairly...
there's no WoW news episode this week because there's just no WoW news.
Because there's no WoW news.
Unless we are going to go and be a late 90s Bond movie villain and start creating the news so we can report on the news we've created. Which I suppose is like the whole drama YouTuber thing. It's literally their business model, isn't it? Huh. Incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the whole thing. The whole soulless nightmare experience, etc. So yeah, I'm not really sure, to be honest, because I'm obviously not up to date with the news. Not that the news has happened. Roadmap next week, please.
I think so. I think they will. Hang on, did they not give us the roadmap before holidays last year?
I don't remember.
Let me.
I don't remember much. To be honest.
21st of December 2022. Dragonflight in 2023, the road ahead. That's what Blizzard posted on the 21st of September 2022.
September?
December, sorry.
December, fuck.
So
21st, a while away.
Few weeks. But yeah, that's what they did. And they posted right up until Season 3 in winter, which is, of course, exactly what happened. And that was a post from Holly Longdale.
Sweet.
So certainly interesting. Now there is a little bit to talk about. So T&E they posted about how it seems kind of crazy that Blizzard didn't mention the follower dungeons at BlizzCon. I'm kind of wondering, what other surprises could there be? And loads of WoW devs were just like, I wonder indeed. One of those was actually Holly. Now, at the point of those tweets, from then to now, no new features have been announced other than Vampire Survivors being data mined. And the Vampire Survivors data mining does say 10.2.5 in it.
Yeah, we're in that funny stage of just waiting on news. It's probably going to be great.
I actually kind of think so, yeah.
It's hard not to, because I see people in chat there asking about, like, did we talk about Season of Discovery? No. And a lot of that is because I haven't a fucking clue what's going on. Outside of everything looks amazing. Everything looks
for me, it's
just profoundly good.
It's just been time.
Full on, like,
I've been really busy with work and planning and building things.
Yeah, it's like half fucking Classic Plus in terms of how they're throwing in, like, I guess story content technically through the quests and how, like, they're putting the runes and things in.
Yeah, we need to take a look at that story content.
It's not super important as far as I've gathered, but it is literally just like they're finding slots to put things in and have a little bit of.
I know that at the very least Luke joked about the jailer, so I want to take a look at that. So Season Discovery, my overall thoughts are absolutely fantastic. I am very glad that this exists. This looks really cool, and I'm quite frustrated about how much time I currently have, because I have a lot of things to do and that I want to do in so many different, like, realms of life and work that it's honestly just quite hard. It's quite hard to fit it all in.
Yeah.
Alongside like the raid nights and stuff in WoW. So that's mainly been my issue. Definitely not that I don't want to play it. I absolutely do. It's just really damn hard to find the time, because it looks flipping awesome. And we've also seen they had some issues with the Ashen Veil PvP. They have actually done a bit of a redesign or something like that they posted today.
No, that's a small team, right? They probably have, like, remote people and different people who are in different teams or assistant, but I saw the photo they posted on Twitter or somewhere of them having, like, a celebration of, like, launching Season Discovery, and they, like, went for a meal somewhere, and it was a pretty fucking small team. And
wow.
That has enabled them, I think, to have a level of agility that we haven't seen from anyone at Blizzard. Yeah. Outside of maybe some of the Heroes of the Storm stuff where they're able to pump away, or some, like, the smaller Hearthstone changes early on its conception, but they have been so off the rail. Is it the John? Is it Greenfield? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Agrant. That guy is fucking carrying so hard, and I know it's likely him as, like, the standard bearer for the team, and the team are all doing great work, but the level of, like, hey, that's a problem, I'm going to fix that. Hey, there's a problem, I'm going to talk about it and fix it now. It has been, like, it feels like an indie team within Blizzard.
It is.
I mean, it is.
It kind of is.
And it is, like, them being able to just, like, have the freedom to do whatever they want, and, like, everything out of it has been such an astonishing move that I have to stop and wonder how it's possible out of Blizzard Entertainment. Because Blizzard Entertainment, I still, in my head, Blizzard Entertainment are the fucking J. Allen Brack Blizzard Entertainment, the Mike Morhaime Blizzard Entertainment, the Blizzard Entertainment that go months without saying anything to anyone. That's the Blizzard Entertainment in my head in a bunch of times. And then I turn around and, like, every time I open Twitter, there's some other, like, post makes it to my timeline of someone going, hey, it's we're making this change in Ashenvale, or hey, we're making this change in the rune. Like the fact that the Warlock rune was in BFD, and then they go, oh yeah, you guys didn't really like that, and we weren't really sure, so yeah, we'll put it out and put it some elsewhere. And everyone went, that's really cool, because I didn't really have the time to raid. I didn't want to gear up for it, but I wanted to try the new cool thing, so thanks for giving me the new cool thing. And I'm just like, all right, I'll take that.
That sounds big. Then is Season of Discovery people get to have a patch cycle, and, like, yes, there was patch cycles in Classic, but we all knew what was coming. They're going to get new things. That's, like, something the Classic community's, like, never really had. Like, it's always been a solved game, everything that, they know everything. So that's where I'm really, honestly, I'm expecting this to have a humongous impact in the game. It's what I wrote at the top of last week's WoW News. Season of Discovery, I think it's like 500 and something thousand concurrents in Twitch. Basically,
sweet baby Jesus.
its Twitch concurrency is it's half of initial classic launch. Higher than TBC,
So
higher than Season of Mastery, higher than Wrath, and higher than Hardcore.
Higher than Hardcore?
Yeah. Hardcore didn't have much of a... No, Hardcore didn't have much of a spike. I mean, it did have a spike, but it was, it was nothing absolutely crazy. Yeah, like, it's done that well.
I know it's done well in terms of player response.
Like, no. In terms of bang for their buck, like, ratio of results to developers, that team is doing crazy good.
Yeah. Damn, that's fucking excellent.
Twitch. If I can just bring up some Twitch stats, I'll just bring it up on Twitch Tracker.
That's a good point, Goose, about the BNet engineer talking about the servers going down over the deployment error and literally telling us why.
That was awesome. On our raid night, servers died. And so I was like, okay, 6:30. Why is no one in Discord? And it was that. But somebody just in the WoW team tweeted, hey, push an update. We broke WoW. Whoops. Working on it.
Yeah. That was such a wild thing. Broke it too.
Yeah, I'm like, that's crazy. That's so good. Okay, so some World of Warcraft numbers here. Let's have a look. Was October? When did Classic Hardcore launch? Let me just get the release date. August 24th.
Is that how short ago it was?
Yeah, so Classic Hardcore spikes us up to 99k concurrents. Then we have a peak concurrency up like 340, or sorry, was it 300 something K for Race to World First? Really good concurrency in this Race to World First. And then Season of Discovery absolutely just completely nails it.
Damn. I could imagine being like Holly looking at him and just having a big fucking smile.
Yeah.
And just been like, good work. Keep her lit. Bounce on. Because between Hardcore and Season of Discovery, this is like... Obviously, we talk about retail. Calling it retail is so weird, but it's how it's called. Like, talking about Dragonflight or Modern, whatever the fuck I say. Talking about Dragonflight is so interesting because everything is so good, mostly. Everything is so, like, solid.
Yeah, mostly. Then we get a cinematic to laugh at.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But, like, everything is mostly on the way up, right? And then you look over Classic and go, they are just popping the fuck off in so many ways. And we're like, we're happy with what we have. But those guys are eating so much better. And it's not even like a, why don't we have that? It's like a, how is this possible? How is everything so good? This doesn't even make like feasible sense. I guess the thing is saying, can they sustain it though? So there's nothing about, at least that we're aware of, obviously God knows what's happening behind the curtain, but like there's nothing about Hardcore Season Discovery that's inherently not sustainable.
No?
So Hardcore that's an idea. That happens once. You don't have an idea like Hardcore again. And it wasn't even their idea, it was obviously it was a community thing that they like jumped on and officially implemented. But Season of Discovery is clearly them just kind of going, well, we're gonna have a Classic Plus. We're gonna take the thing that works and we're gonna remix it. And if you can remix it one way, in a way that actually works and matters more for gameplay, because obviously the other experiments, like Season of Mastery, didn't really work quite to the same degree.
No. So
it is just like, as long as they have the capacity for ideas and they know Season of Discovery works. So sustainable in terms of constantly hitting like bangers after banger is a bit up in the air. But there is like straight up multiple multiple cases of they have looked to what people want and have tried it and it's worked.
Yeah, like
so I think it's sustainable enough. Like
the big question. The big question is, what do they do after this? Like in my head, I really think they should increase that level cap as slow as they can. But if they maybe do it over like 4 or 5 phases, what's next? Because I don't really think you can do this in an expansion.
You could get away with it in TBC, but maybe. But I think a lot of the point, because people are talking about like classic streamers doing okay and it being like nostalgia bit. It's not all nostalgia bit
because it's new.
It's
new and nostalgia.
Yeah, but I think there's enough that's actually there's enough that's happening in terms of the culture surrounding it, and some of this might be in the same way M Plus has spawned its own culture. Hardcore and Season of Discovery have spawned their own like World of Warcraft culture things, where there's people playing World of Warcraft that didn't before because of Hardcore and because of Season of Discovery, and it may not be people in their like thousands or else, but there's clearly a lot of play because we've talked about Classic Plus for ages. There's clearly ways they can Classic Plus the shit out of the game, and they're willing to do that to some degree. That likely won't take the case of a new expansion, but you know, like as Nightsucker points out, like more actual new dungeons, Furball dungeon on the Ashara map. Fucking right, like they can just do that for a decent period of time and ride this out for for as long as people enjoy playing classic World of Warcraft with elements of it that are changing. And you look at Ascension and you go, well, Season of Discovery felt like they've snipped a wee bit off Ascension and went, let's try that. So what happens when they turn and go, we'll snip off a bigger bit next time. We'll try a different part. We'll try a different thing that's like community battle tested. So I'm not trying to say, they're yoinking the private server stuff. It's more they're looking at how people are playing World of Warcraft and going, well, are people playing World of Warcraft in different ways and different ideas across the same way they did with the hardcore add-on? Like, just keep picking them stuff up. Just keep going. It feels like it's inherently sustainable as long as they have the same approach they have now. Basically. Yeah. They are going at a pace, and if they keep that up, it's fine. It's not. It basically neither of these feel like luck.
WoW has got two strong ways to like simultaneously, independent from each other, grow, and that's big. Like WoW had more subs coming from Classic than it did from Modern whenever Classic came out.
Yeah,
that I know for a fact. So isn't that something? I'm not saying that that's what's going on right now, but I don't know. I think that there are so many people who didn't want to play Classic because they'd been there before, and they're now probably going to be, they'll be more likely to check this out. So yeah, I'm just happy with it. I did something very funny got linked to me, and it is the LCK, the official global Twitter of, I don't even know what LCK is. It's some League of Legends thing.
It's the Korean League.
Right, so for the Korean League, they didn't post ADC of the year. They posted their award for Bottom of the Year. And their graphic just says Bottom of the Year.
Yeah, it does. Bottom of the Year. Not bot laner, not carry, not even bot. Just bottom.
Go to the down there. Untitled. Just so the people can see it.
Please be patient. Notion's having a moment.
Come on, Notion! Oh my god.
There we go. Yep. Wouldn't you love to be nominated Bottom of the Year? Oh,
I'm sure there's a lot of people that have seen this like, I'm fucking left out. How do I sign up for this award show? There you go. Anyway, that was random and kind of funny.
What a World of Warcraft M Plus healers we've left out.
Oh shit, that's what I do. Uh-oh.
Yep. Didn't Taco Bell have a bottom menu? I don't know. I don't know. That sounds weird.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
So mad. I think there's no more WoW news to talk about realistically. Realistically, no, there really isn't.
Yeah, this news has been.
This is old news.
Thin. It has been.
News is old and thin.
Worn out.
Which probably means we should have,
like me, to be honest.
We probably should have worked out some thinky talky things, which I think we will do for next week's stream. As for right now, we are, I think, working on lots of big improvement on all fronts. Members of Ghost, we will have many improvements for you by the end of Monday. So that will happen. That will be good. Other improvements. making improvements to YouTube teams, which has been good.
Yes.
You know, I'm not doing as many thumbnails, which means I am more freed up to do some other things, which is really good. So yeah, that's mostly been my focus. Yeah, right now, trying to actually build great company instead of just do content, because by build great company, we then get good content by, you know, default, rather than by, all right, everyone, let's burn ourselves out. So that's mostly what I've been doing. And I suppose it's your first week back from Japan.
Yeah, I've been fucking jet lagged. Holy shit. This has been one of the worst weeks of my fucking life. I'm not even joking. Jesus Christ.
How's your first proper transatlantic, right?
Yeah, this is the furthest time zone I've ever been in was a couple days in like Central European time, which is just thinking, like, ahead of us.
If your furthest time zone was a couple of days, I wonder where you were.
Yeah, I straight up like first time being out of the time zone, and I'm like, what if I just play on fucking very hard mode? What if I skipped the fucking tutorial? Like, I just hopped on 2 8-hour flights, stayed there for 2 weeks, got a 12-hour flight and then 8-hour flight back.
That's so hardcore.
Fucking 12-hour flight. Holy shit. Oh, the people who do that regularly are built fucking different. Like, it wasn't that bad, but as soon as I got off the plane, I'm like, I'm dead. Please kill me. Especially when you get off the plane in fucking Abu Dhabi and it's 27 degrees in the airport.
Oh!
And the air is dust. You're like, please, please. I just want to be in a cold country that's wet. Fucking please.
Welcome home.
Yeah.
After being in California for BlizzCon. Land back here and it's pissing rain. And I'm just like, oh, it's cold. It's cold. I'm wet and I'm being rained on. This is great. I'm home.
Yeah.
I'm built for the cold.
Yeah, I'm built for comfort, but I'm definitely built for the cold too. Right, okay, built for the cold. As people were saying, I'm in a fucking t-shirt.
How are you in a t-shirt here?
It's fine.
That's pretty nippy now.
I don't feel cold.
Oh, shit.
Well, you're in fucking like 3 layers there. 3 proper layers.
Oh, yeah, I'm in 3 layers. Yeah. Oh, crazy.
Yeah, people were asking which one of us had the problem. I think both the answer.
Yeah, because like there's been no heating in this room for days.
Yeah.
And it is actually cold outside.
Yeah. No.
Damn.
Finally.
Wow.
Though in Japan it was fucking hateful because I was just in the shirt the whole time. I'd say
So are you is it like high temperature and dry, high temperature and wet?
High temperature dry.
Oh, that's the best. Fuck.
My body didn't like dry.
No. You compare California to Florida and you'll want that dry heat, because oh man, that wet heat is hard. That is hard to deal with.
Probably, yeah, but I'll tell you what, my fucking skin just destroyed by the dryness.
Okay, yeah, that bit's true.
It happened to 3 of us. Like, it's just like, yeah, we're just walking around like, yeah, dry. Fuck. But it was, yeah, it did, because like obviously I stand out pretty like reasonably as 1, a white man, 2, big beard, 3, I'm twice the width of most Japanese men. Like, and I'm not even that big. Like, and then just walking around in a t-shirt when I'm not fucking kidding you, everyone else is in like full autumn clothes. It's like 17 to 18 degrees and they're just people walking past me in scarves and hats. I'm like, what the fuck? What's going on? How fucked must this place be in the summertime? And so obviously that's just like fine. But it would, yeah. This fucking week has been killer. Like, just waking up at like 1:30 in the morning, like clockwork every day. And my brain just going, it's morning time. Like, yeah, it's 10:30 in Japan. But
I'm surprised that your brain hasn't given up on a circadian rhythm and just embraced chaos.
It's getting that way. It's getting that way where I've just like been sleeping like for like 3 hours and then lying awake for 3 hours and sleeping for 3 hours. I'm just doing that in a loop for a while. It's fucking not right. Like, it's not right. That said, it was awake this morning at a reasonable time, so it might be fixed. Might be fixed.
Interesting.
So it might go horribly wrong tomorrow.
Do you know what also involves a region of Asia and problems? The day before.
The day before.
I don't know if you guys have been keeping up on the day before, but it's finally came out. into early access. It currently, right, has of 13,300 reviews, a 16% positivity rate. So, and now, here is the most helpful positive review for the game. For every like this review gets, I will consume 1 spoonful of mayonnaise.
Fuck, Steam is useless.
Our next top most helpful positive review is, I get it, this game was made the day before launch. Our next most positive one is, started game, did cutscene waking up, my character was falling through map into eternity, great sign for good start, also no one is going to read this review, so I'm going to say I'm gay, no one will ever know it. That's our third most helpful positive review.
That gambit backfired, didn't it? That gambit backfired.
Yeah, and they've also went and deleted a lot of videos from their YouTube channel that show the Okay, so basically what happened is they sold this game as if it was basically a sort of GTA Online in a big zombie world. Mm-hmm. And like they went as far to do that as like their gameplay reveal was like, hello, look at this woman's arse in these very tight pantaloon. What are they called? Yoga pants, that's it. So between that and then the whole, look at this, it's the apocalypse, and that's a Lamborghini, and you're just racing around the streets in your Lambo. So all of these things made people think it was a different game. Mm-hmm. It is a mostly broken extraction shooter that's not very good.
And that's why they have taken down all of their videos.
They've taken down their videos,
and forgotten that
here's
agreements with IGN and Nvidia, so you can just look it up on Nvidia and IGN's channels.
So here's another positive review for the game, one of the most helpful positive reviews. If I wanted to be railed from behind, I'd go visit my uncle. So it's very interesting commentary on the quality of this game's launch.
I love posts like that. They're so dumb.
Steam's great. Yeah, I just thought it was kind of fascinating. A lot of people were surprised this game's even came out, I suppose. I almost like morbidly would want to buy it and try it, but it's £33.50, so nope. I'm not going to do that.
No way. Fucking hell.
Oh my god, that reminds me.
Oh no.
I should log into my priest. I can do that live. I can reveal to everybody here what is in my great vault.
Oh, I have vault. I fucking hate vaults. Fuck. Oh, I can't wait to open my vault and be annoyed.
Matt,
I've had such shit luck.
So I know that you're here complaining about the great vault.
Yeah.
Were you not quite literally praising the autoplay feature in your mobile gacha game?
I genuinely fail to see how those are related.
Fair.
Unless it's about gambling. In which case I fucking hate gambling so much. But I don't have the picture of my documents.
Actually, 1 second, I'm gonna...
Sad. I don't have the picture of my documents. I have a document that has a handful of pictures that are selected. You're not going to see them just yet from around the place. But I don't think I have it here.
It's Japan, therefore we have...
Yeah, no one gets to see this.
Images of animated girls everywhere.
Yeah. Well, they're not animated when they're outside because they're paper, but you know. No. I mean, they could be if they're on like video things.
True.
Yeah, I'll actually just preload a lot of this. I'm sorry, you'll get to see this shortly. Don't worry.
Oh my god, many things.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's something here. If I should go find it on my telephone and put it in a Notion very quick.
All I got from that week was a great vault slot.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, you didn't get to catch a fish and then
eat the fish,
then have it cooked for you, which was
here's my anticipation
very
bar.
fucking mid. Very mid. Mm-hmm.
See, that's interesting.
Yeah. Turns out gimmicks are take up most of the cost of something. Funny that.
I have some champion shoes, 457, that are worse than what I'm currently wearing. I have some. I can replace my item level 463 tier shoulders with item level 467 hero shoulders.
Insane.
Which will be
Instagram.
Or
I'm an autopilot.
I could get the sickle of the white stag.
Oh, one of those dropped for me, and then I give it to Pop.
One-handed dagger. Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, I got who's this the Nemo stuff. I got the blasted damage stuff.
Ah, nice. I got the Bloom of Amirdrasil. I was quite happy about that. Which is, I think it's the very rare healer trinket. Which, kind of nice. Well, there you go. That's my Great Vault. I'm not going to click on anything. And I've just noticed for some reason, my character is currently tracking reputation with Venari on its XP bar. You can tell I don't have add-ons enabled right now.
Yeah.
Oh no, time to go back to the maw, everyone.
Yeah. Oh, damn it, I actually really didn't take half the fucking photos I should have, to be honest. Because there's a wall of gacha. Because I was talking about gambling and how I don't like gambling, but say actually fucking, whenever you see walls of gacha, like gachapon halls, and it's just, wouldn't you like to put 300 yen into a machine and get something pointless? Wouldn't that be beautiful?
Oh yes, the machines that give you actual gacha.
Yeah, literal actual gacha and not mobile game gacha, which is substantially worse because you don't get a little trinket that you get to put in your bag and then give it to someone. Like, here you go, here's your gift. Here's your gift. Or you don't, no, I won't say it. I won't say it.
Oh yes, don't say that one, but it was really funny.
Yeah. Yeah. If Venari was like a mother-in-law, I don't want to see her again. Yeah.
Oh no, she had some hard mummy voice. Yeah. No, I like the voice. I'm okay with more Venari.
Yeah, that was fine. That was pretty good. I am literally just waiting for a photo to show up, and it's fucking not doing it, so that's cool. Oh, it's because I'm an idiot.
Oh.
There you go. No, it's because I locked my phone and then I canceled upload because fuck me, I suppose. So computers are fun and cool and interesting. They never do anything wrong at all. I cringed every time I heard the term Mall Walker. Yeah, that's true.
God, that hurt. Can you imagine they wrote Mall Walker?
Yeah, they did.
So there's a very interesting thing that's happened. Somebody who used to work in World of Warcraft.
Oh.
Apparently had a very angry and unhinged thread of tweets.
Cool.
That they then deleted.
No.
And said that they would revisit with a cool mind later on.
That's unfortunate.
Suffice to say, it has a lot of people wondering.
Yes.
We'll be very interested to see if that comes out.
That'll be fun. So.
Figure hobby goods.
Yeah. Let me pass my. This is where I saw Louise from Zero Note Scammer for 160 quid, and I was almost bought her because it's extremely fucking.
Did you see any World of Warcraft figurines in your travels?
No, I saw nothing World of Warcraft at all.
Darn.
So I have this open. I was literally just saying, these little fucking gacha boys. These are everywhere in all across Akiba forever. And
so you put money into machine.
You put 300 yen coins or 4 or 5 into it. You turn it nearly satisfying. Plunk, it comes down. That is not Akiba. That is actually Den Town in Osaka. So it is, because we were there for a couple days as well.
Now, what was Osaka like?
It was a smaller city. like I'm a pretty bad person to this. It's like, yeah, it's a smaller place. Everyone was slightly more rude, and by slightly more I mean like they just had slightly worse vibes. That was it. Bikes were more aggressive. It was smaller. That's kind of the difference. I'm sure there's a lot.
Randomly speaking of Japan, apparently Final Fantasy 16 dropped a DLC live last night.
It did, yeah. Yeah, they just went, here's the DLC.
Good.
Yeah,
true.
Hang on, let me just travel 6 years into the future when I get a chance to play it. I'll tell you. Yeah, they Shadow dropped DLC, and there'll be more coming in spring, which will be cool as fuck. So it will be. Very enjoyable. I suppose I might as well just go through my pictures now. I'm going to jump scare you with possibly one of the worst photos of me that possibly exists, because I don't know what I was. I don't think I was hungover, but I was fucking tired. And this was just me at like whatever. I can't even mind the street name, but that's the big crossing at Akiba.
Oh, the crossing that everyone's...
No, not the Shibuya crossing.
No,
this is just a crossing at the top end of Akiba. And the only reason is because we use this landmark because that was the Genshin ad. I use the Genshin ad all the fucking time. And the at home below it. And then I can't remember her name. The Senran Kagura girl behind me. It's, one of the interesting things is that was just the place, like, there's shit fucking everywhere. Just everywhere you look, there's anime. Like, there's another shot I have here of Akiba somewhere. Or did I not put it in? I didn't put it in, some dickhead. I will have a better version of this available for other people at some point in time. Yeah, the crossing was very small, the actual scramble crossing. But crossing it at night when there's 40 billion people in it was kind of fucked up. It was kind of... Does that say maid casino? No, it says maid cafe, not casino. Although actually,
it was interesting hearing that those are everywhere, like Starbucks in New York.
Fucking everywhere doesn't even describe it. Like, there was a bit...
I wish they got James May to go into a maid cafe in Armagh in Japan. It would have been very funny.
So on Fridays and Saturdays, it was a fucking gauntlet. Like, it was a maid gauntlet.
Oh yes, the maid gauntlet street.
So there was a actual what do you call it? Actual maid gauntlet in Den Town, up one of like the, because like the main street, well, the traffic down, and there's the one big side street on Den Town, and I fucking swear to God, there were maids standing like this far apart from each other, just trying to get the attention of people walking past to hand them flyers and get them into the cafe. And there must have been like 20 or 30 of them on the street. I'm looking around going, how do you fit cafes in this fucking place? And then you go to one of like the buildings, it's like 6 or 7 floors, and you go, oh, it's just 6 floors of different maid cafes.
And so the selling point here is to eat food with girl.
The selling point here is for a girl dressed as a maid or whatever concept they have to talk to you while you eat some mediocre food. That's the concept.
Yeah.
It's fucked up. And I'm not saying this is like an individual.
Just imagining that in Belfast. I was like, well,
yeah,
it's crack.
Yeah.
So what do you want?
Like, I don't say it's fucked up in like the, well, that's weird or that's distasteful or, you know,
it's pretty strange in the grand scheme of things now.
It's not, because I'm trying, like, I try to look at it all.
I'm used to like a theme cafe that's like, this is a cafe with a bunch of cats, but the idea that it's the same as that, but it's a bunch of humans.
Yeah, exactly.
It's quite strange.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the zoo episode of in Star Trek. Right, here you go. We've captured all of these people to eat food. It's very weird.
It's really hard to explain why I don't think it's that weird.
Oh no, I get it. Yeah. Like it is market demand, fulfill need for money.
Yeah, it's very much that, and clearly like there's a level of creativity involved in all of like the concept cafe and stuff. Like there were like heavy metal ones and kunoichi ones and a bunch of other ones. That seemed interesting, but like it's just fucking wild. Like just the gauntlet of going through them was crazy.
Yeah, that you just had like 15 cafes worth of of people trying to promote with flyers. Yeah,
just people like looking at you and waving at you and trying to talk to you and just walking past like, I'm sorry. I would love to stand here all day and talk with you, but for a start, you don't know enough English. I don't know enough Japanese, and I'm trying to go buy more stuff. Thank you very much. I just think, oh fuck, yeah. What was it? Yeah, I'll just go through my stuff. So, I haven't really put an awful lot of thought into this, but I will say one of the things that's really interesting, and this is going to sound insane, but it's something that I really realized. So you know when you live places, nothing ever fucking happens. You feel like you're just slowly dying forever. Maybe this is the same in like bigger cities and stuff like that, because obviously we live in a fucking city. I don't even know if you half call it a city, but like you just go and you're like you go into the shop that you're in the week like a couple days before, and now you just see a whole load of like
it's been taken over.
Yeah, it's just been taken over, and there was like just there's the Omaroke, which is like a spin-off of Yuri, a manga. Like this whole building is having a collab. There's a whole floor in this fucking building dedicated to just this. And you're like,
what's our equivalent of that going to be? Is it like a Channel 4 reality TV show?
It's weird because there kind of isn't anything similar because there's no fucking culture that's this kind of unified.
Yeah.
And to be fair, this is Akihabara. This is fucking Nerd Town. Like, this isn't just everyone's come up here like your average businessman. This is people who like anime are coming here specifically because they live in this area. They're visiting things like that. So you just show up. You're like, oh yeah, it's just in the shop now. Because like the floor down was just a load of like, because this is in the Akiba station. So the floor down was a load of like pastries and food and stuff like that. So you just go up the escalator and you're just like, oh, here's a load of places to spend money. And then this is the thing where like this is a pop-up shop, right? We sometimes there's maybe small pop-up things here, but they basically don't exist as a concept.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm here, I'm like, I just walk past, like, oh, because I fucking love Symphogear. And one of the friends I was with also loves Symphogear. So we spotted this. We're like, holy fuck, good thing the 2 weeks we're here, there's just a Symphogear pop-up shop. And you go up this elevator, and there's a room about the size of this fucking table, it maybe. And it's just full of stuff. It's full of stuff. They're like, here's some unique goods that we have made for this. And it's all gacha, and I rolled fucking horribly and everything. And I got my least favorite characters, and he got all the right ones. I fucking hate him. Carry you cunt. But yeah. You just go in the station. Like,
could you not have spent more money to get the characters you wanted?
I bought a couple, then left, and then opened them later.
Because that was your mistake.
No, that was not my mistake.
That was your mistake.
That was me being very, very smart. That was very smart.
You don't have the characters you want, so clearly it was a mistake.
Yeah, and then you just like walking around the stations. There you go. There's a massive fucking wall covered in Love Live stuff, and it may be vaguely apparent from the fact that I'm wearing the Sunshine in the Mirror shirt. I fucking love Love Live. Sunshine in the Mirror is great. Indie creates game. Blazing the Deep Blue sucks balls, but this is great. And where was I going next after that?
Yeah, different to...
it was very...
different to like the marketing here where... I mean, animated content never gets marketed.
Yeah, it was very cool. It was really fucking
I guess
weird,
they've got, like with mobile games and stuff, they really have it like pumping on a cultural level like massively compared to stuff here.
Massively, yeah. Because I'm fairly sure that's a new Love Live game that's appearing at some point in time. Because the other one got shut down. They're like, fuck it, we'll make a new one. They're like, this is crazy. It's like, I don't like anime. I don't think I would like Japan. To be fair, this was me in Akihabara, which is fucking Anime Central. Like, this was, I went to the place for me and largely ignored most of the rest of it outside of just walking around visiting stuff. Like, most of my time was spent in Akihabara around that. So obviously, it's going to be a very skewed version of this versus someone who spends a lot more time in like Shinjuku or Harajuku or in and around different parts of Tokyo. Because to be fair, for a couple of days, we did spend a lot of time up in Ueno, which was more the zoo, the parks. Dotonbori, as an example, which actually... Dotonbori is down here. No, yeah. This place was fucking packed. No. Yeah, this place was fucking packed. It was unbelievable packed.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, that's nice.
This is just like that's all. That's all. All of that. The right hand side is queues for food.
Isn't ray tracing incredible?
Yeah, yeah. The power of your iPhone 15, which over processes the fuck out of images. So if you don't look up close, they look great.
Oh, you can turn that off.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, cause like, obviously, like I went up this is the Fushimi Inari Shrine in Kyoto, and this shit is fucking pretty. Pretty.
Yeah, I mean,
that was the top. That was the top of Mount Inari. That was a long fucking climb up really narrow, steep steps that would not be allowed in I think half the countries because people just fucking die. This was nighttime. Like this was proper. It's dark. You can't see where you're walking. Fucking brutal. And that was that shot on the way up, and then similar way down. Fucking nice. Very nice. It was very nice.
I got my Blade Runner shot of LA.
Yeah.
As in, only you know that the famous LA fog.
Yeah.
It was the first time I ever noticed that, and I just like, oh, this kind of looks like a Blade Runner situation with this very spooky fog.
Surprising lack of guardrails in the path too. Yeah. You could just die. Like you could just die.
Just fall?
Straight up, you just die. You fall and you die. You could do that.
So is this like step, big drop?
Yeah.
Dead.
Yeah. And this is a big cliff with a guardrail that's like maybe to your waist.
Is there a bunch of Western YouTubers at the bottom waiting to make content?
I wish, but
So you put the card in the machine.
Yeah,
and then that's who you're playing as.
Yeah, like you don't have to, but if you like don't have your prize possession, which is where the fuck's my wallet?
His prize possessions are gone.
Yeah, if you don't have your prize possession, which contains your entire life, which is your little AIM card or IMA card, which is just basically an NFC thing. This is your account for your games. or at least for a certain subset of games, you get like an e-amusement pass for Konami stuff as well, which I also do.
Right, so all your progress and all of that stuff is going to be saved.
Yep.
I see.
On this. Well,
Smart.
not on this. This is this is basically a login key, more or less, which is a really fucking cool idea because you sit down, you drop your 3 cards in, you slap that, you put your money in, and off you go, which is cool as fuck. But Ongeki is a really fucking good game. Like, actually crazy fun. The physicality of playing a rhythm game that's actually like has fun stuff. Because the way it actually is behind to show a video, but I'll just explain. You basically have like a lane with 3 buttons, but the buttons are duplicated for your left and right hand. So at higher levels, you're supposed to swap between the 2. Mm-hmm. There's the lever in the middle, which is basically your character's position. You have to dodge bullets and stay on the lane as it moves. Oh. Using the lever. So most of what you're doing is three buttons here.
It's like a rhythm bullet hell.
Yeah. So you're
that's combining things.
Yeah, Ongeki shooting. So you use your like left hand to move the lever while you press the rhythm with your hand. With
and
your,
if you could buttons. Then play a Metroidvania with your feet, we'd never see you again.
Exactly, yeah. Then there are buttons on the walls beside you.
What?
Yeah. So you're sitting here, and to the right, there's a purple button on the wall, which you tap by doing that.
This is like a backhand slap.
Yeah. So you're sat there. I should have put the fucking full screen up. So you're sat there, lever, buttons, three big buttons, and then hitting the wall beside you.
Whoa.
Or like holding different capacities. Then there's another one where like basically it's the same on the left. So the higher the difficulty goes, the more it adds like off rhythm and offbeat stuff with the left side, which means you have to swap your swap your hand. So there's certain bits where you're moving the lever with your left, hitting buttons, moving your like left hand over to tap the wall there. But then you also need to move your character. So your right hand grabs the lever, pulls it to the right.
Oh my God.
And then
so many mechanics are happening at once.
Exactly. And it's fucking fantastic. There's a reason I maybe spent like 15, 16 hours playing Ongeki over the 2 weeks I was there and You
staying close to there?
Yeah, both times an arcade with one of these was 5 minutes away from us. It was great. Because when we were in Akiba, we were 5 minutes away from the Taito station, and then there was a guy get into the Gaming Oasis GIGO, which is the new branding for the old Sega arcades that all got closed.
Right.
There was one of those in the Osaka Akimai, which was basically an understation mall, which was across the road from where we're staying, which is fucking sick. Very, very cool. And I actually seriously miss this. Ongeki was so much fun. So much fun.
We do not have... I'm sorry, we don't have rhythm games in Northern Ireland.
It's so painful.
They don't exist.
It's genuinely painful to not... it's genuinely painful. And I have like 500 photos and I only picked a handful for this because I tried to throw a load in and Notion screamed at me. So this is the fish that I caught.
Oh!
Yeah.
I, for some reason, thought it would be no, this is a big fish.
Yeah, a sea bream.
How'd you catch it?
With the fishing rod.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, where are the fish?
It's a big open hall, right? And there's a load of little, like, wooden things with, like, ponds and a couple of fish per pond. So you go in, and there's, like, a wee river, and the fish can swim around all.
They all get fucking slaughtered.
Yeah, basically. So you go in, and you catch fish. You can order from the menu as well, but if you want, you give them like 100 yen to rent a rod and you go try to catch fish. So 3 of us went and caught some sea bream for this. We went and got some sea bream, and you can choose which way you want it to be cooked. And I went for just grilled whole, except I also got sashimi as well. So the other side of the fish, there's no flesh on it, but it was so they just cut it up real quick, brought out the sashimi, it was okay. It was great. Clearly pretty low quality fish in there, like, because it's like, fuck whatever. And they're all under distress because they're in a place that's loud, and every time someone catches a fish, the staff cheer and beat these massive drums. Which is interesting. So they catch the fish, put it in the pond, be called again. No, they catch the fish and then fucking kill it. Yeah, they just they just get, instead of cooking the fish, they put the fish in the pond. You catch it, then they cook it. Yeah, and then grill shit of it. It was the first time I ate fish eyes and fish brains, and they're tasty.
Oh.
Yeah.
Eyes and brain.
Yeah.
You ate the brains.
Fish eyes are really weird. There's like a little, they're almost like kind of jellyish, except for like the actual like bit that we would consider like a pupil, which is really solid and chewy.
You ate the brain.
Yeah. Yeah.
How much brain is there in a fish?
Not much. Not much.
Is it nice?
Yeah, it was tasty, yeah.
You ate brain?
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, it was tasty, Gary.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, you could have just not, but I did.
Yeah.
But I did. And that is more or less. Oh no, I've got one more photo, which is. This is a sushi place.
Ah, yes. What, 80 pence a plate?
About 80p a plate. Like, but depends on what you got. You could get stuff a bit more expensive. Like if you'd like proper fatty tuna, it was like 120 or 130 for a piece. But we have like here, if we want to go to the sushi place down there that has a sushi place, sushi little train, you're looking at like £2, £3 a piece, and those pieces are shit. This is great, and this wasn't even a good place. This was like just one of the random fucking chains that has the train where you press the. So you tap the button on the screen, you put your order on the screen, and then there's a wee window down the end of the thing. You're all sitting in like a fucking line, and it just flies down on a wee train in front of you, with a conveyor belt in front of you. You pick it up, press a button, and you sit there for as long as you want, just pressing the button of just send me fish up the line, please. Send me raw fish up the line, please.
Oh, it's like I was with John and a few people in a hot pot place in London at like 3 a.m, and your table just had an iPad, and you're profoundly aware that on your iPad is the Wagyu button. If you hit the Wagyu button, it's like money will disappear, but Wagyu will appear. It was crazy. Oh, it's very good. It's very good. I was jealous. We don't have that here.
Yeah,
3 a.m. Just 3 a.m. Oh, out of the bar. I'm feeling a bit peckish. How about I have a full sit-down hot pot session? Crazy.
One of the meals we had was all-you-can-eat Wagyu yakiniku. So we just sat there for 80 minutes.
How much did that cost?
About £40.
What?
Yeah. That country's fucking cheap.
Yeah, it's weird. I always thought Japan was super expensive to live in. But everything that you're saying, like, wow, our money goes far.
It goes far.
How much has the yen crashed?
I don't know what it's like now, but it was like 180 to a pound.
But what did it used to be?
Like 130, 140 to a pound.
It's not... Yeah, like, historically, it's not like it's crashed awfully. It's not like, remember you used to get $2 for £1. Mm-hmm. It's not like that. Wow, Japan just must be... Maybe they pay more in other, for other things in life. Like tax or whatever.
Their rent and stuff's pretty high.
I see.
But food is fucking cheap. Like getting like a beef bowl out of Sukiya in the morning was like £4.
Oh god.
And that's just here's a bowl of rice, here's some thinly sliced beef, like braised over the top of it, here's some miso soup, and here's a bottle of tea for like £4.
Crazy.
And I spent £3.80 for a breakfast wrap. That was cold when I landed back, and I was in that center. I was like, I'm going to kill everyone around me and then myself. That's how I feel. Oh, did you have Combini food is cheap as fuck, mate? Getting like, because my friend loved the tuna mayonnaise onigiri. Fucking hell! Between some pickled plum onigiri, some curry bread, some katapam, fucking unbelievable. Some yakisoba bread as well. Fucking
bread.
Yeah, absolutely fucking ridiculous. Did you have any revelation, Matt? Yeah, the revelation. These were many. A lot of them were actually kind of almost anthropological or societal in nature. I was walking around.
Whoa.
Yeah, because I was just walking around looking at people and be like, "What the fuck is everyone doing?" In a non-derogatory way, but like, just people going fucking like. The way they sat, the way they moved, the way they were like, the way if you were standing in someone's way, that was it. You were in their way until you move. Like, people aren't going to like if they're running to the train, it'd be a different story.
Of course.
But if they're just like standing in a shop waiting for you to move, they'll just fucking stand and wait for you to move. I was like, what do you mean? Just fucking push past me, dude. Like, I'm gonna be here for 10 minutes. Just fucking move me. Like, just apologize and go past me. Or yeah, I'll tell you one of the biggest revolutions. I was supposed to bring it for an example to show, but I fucking didn't. I bought the I actually said it earlier in pre-chat. I bought one of the new game artists like illustration collection books. It was called Next Game. It was in a Surigaya, and I bought that shit. I brought it up to the till, expecting it to be the listed price for the used book, which was 3,000 yen, which is about 20 quid or so. Maybe about 17, 18 quid, because that's a pretty, like a steal for a big ass art book. I'm like, sweet, absolutely wonderful. I bring it up, and this dude looks at it and goes, I can't remember exactly how he phrased it, because it was not very good English, and I don't remember any of the Japanese he used because I didn't understand it, and basically cut the price of it from about 3,000 yen to 800 yen, which is about a £5 or 6 quid. And that was only because the cover on softback books, like the little wraparound thing, was a little bit dinged at the top. The book was otherwise in perfect condition. I was like, so I'm this clear fucking foreigner, right? I'm this clear foreigner, and I'm here, and I clearly like, obviously, the fucking tourist vibes, obviously. Even had the fucking sunglasses around my fucking, and hanging off the thing. It's a sunny day. And this fucker has the perfect opportunity to get an extra 2,200 yen out of me. And I would be like, fine, yeah. I'm buying for the listed price, of course. And then he just cuts most of the price off. I'm like, what? I'm like, why? What? Yeah. Lol, in Peru, they would have tried to charge you double. Yeah. This cunt could have said, actually, it's 5,000. I'd have been like, fuck it. Why not? I'm here already. Like, might as well. But instead, just took a load of the price off it as like part of the principle of looked at that and went, oh, actually, it's been slightly damaged. So obviously, that's not what we sell that for. I was just like, what the fuck? What do you mean? That's like, what do you mean you didn't scam me? I was ripe to be scammed.
I was so scammable.
Yeah, I was a scamble motherfucker. And you were like, nah, it's fine. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Yeah. From Detroit, I legit can't imagine a society that isn't wildly aggressive. It was actually annoying me at times. Like,
yes, this seems very different from walking around in New York.
Yeah, I fucking like the amount of like on the way up to Mount Nari, the amount of times I nearly coped this fella just because he did not make himself known, and I was moving around, and I just nearly bashed him into walls all over the fucking place. It was weird that it happened like 3 times. I nearly like sent him fucking flying. It was insane to me, like, and yeah, item conditioned very seriously. Yeah, I spent so many hours going around like used goods and like used like anime merch and stuff, and I have fucking tons of it. I have far too much of it. I was really stupid and spent so much money, but it's ridiculous just how much stuff there is at secondhand. Like, proportions of stores selling new stuff to old stuff was fucked up. At least where I was like looking around in Akiba, it was really astonishing to me how much, because I'm used to things, well, here you buy something new and then it gets fucked and you launch it into the bin. That's how everything goes. Or when people buy stuff to collect,
It's the way you talk about it that's funny to me. I'm just imagining like you buy a new t-shirt and then just this process happens called it gets fucked, and then you launch it into the bin.
So there is a good reason that I was banned from.
You were banned from Japan.
No,
Wow.
no. I was banned from being the first person to speak to someone who might speak English.
You were banned from being the first person to speak to. Why?
Because even people who could speak decent English could not fucking make me out at all.
Oh, of course.
They hadn't a clue what the fuck I was saying. So my traveling companions were the ones who led the conversations because they could actually speak normally, unlike me. Which I'm sure you're all very familiar with. Between my word choice and accent, it's fucking horrible. But yeah, it was wild. Like the used good stuff is insane to me. Like, I was in a Mandarake, and Mandarake's a big used goods store, and the amount of shit, I swear to God, like, I kind of understood how collector stuff works there, where clearly people cycle things. Like, people clearly buy things and keep them in good condition and then sell them off, which is not how collectors work in the West, as far as I can, like, obviously to some like extent, but it seemed insane to me that there was just, because we went up to Nakano Broadway where there was like a little mall full of different Mandrake shops, and all the shops had like their own specialty. So you're just like, here's a shop, and it's all ancient trading cards, and there's a fucking English and Japanese of both Blue Eyes White Dragon and Dark Magician Girl for hundreds of pounds, if not thousands. I'm pretty sure the Blue Eyes had 6 figures on it, like 6 figures yen. I'm just like, holy sweet fuck, that's ridiculous. And it's just in perfect condition. And it's just there in a shop. It's not like, here's the big display. It's just there's fucking lying in the shop, like little glass container, of course, but everything's in a glass container in a Mandrake. And like, how does this stuff survive here? How does stuff not explode? How does stuff not just break by existing? I don't know. Like,
because man, you live in a world where things get fucked and then are launched into the bin.
Yeah, so like, there's this
like, oh, my mouse is double clicking, and you rip it out and launch it into the bin.
Yeah, I feel like there's an aura of decay that exists in the world that just doesn't somehow exist there. Everything is so fucking clean.
Oh, yeah.
Everything is so clean. There's not a fucking speck of dust to be seen.
I mean, no one will have a mental breakdown the second they land in Paris.
Yeah, right. Like,
that's a massively sweeping statement, and I know that's the point.
Yeah, it's wild to me. There's just so much. It was such a, like, it was actual culture shock, right? Because it sounds like I'm fucking filleting the country, but it actually, seriously, it was a culture shock to be going, what do you mean this is clean? What do you mean everything's like looked after? What do you mean there's like an aura in the air of not just desecration? Which is funny because it was possibly the loneliest place I've ever been in. And I've been out in the fucking woods at night. Like, I've never felt so many people and so few emotions. Just in a crowd and not a single person exists outside of where they're going next. And that was the crazy part. But like, yeah, Sister Bliss, the respect was a weird thing. Like, just
people respect things.
Yeah, like
the amount of like time you're just walking down the street here and like, yep, that person's just. I was about to say pissing in the street. I meant to say spitting, but you know both.
But it's like when here's an example, right? Someone's so, and this I don't know if it was like a coronavirus thing or if it was like something they've done before that because I've never been there before, but. Every time there was like you go into a shop and you would hand over money. It's also weird using cash a lot.
Yes, because they're very cash based.
Yeah, they're still very cash based, and it kind of fucked me up because I forgot to bring my physical credit card, and they don't use contactless very much, so I had to spend my actual money, not my credit card money. So I'm fucking broke. But you put your cash in a little tray, and then they pick up the tray and pick the cash off the tray, as opposed to you handing them the cash. But then they'll hand you back the cash, so I don't really understand the point. This is kind of weird thing. It might be a little thing. Yeah, go to Shibuya or Shinjuku in the nighttime. So many drunken salarymen. Yeah, we came home from Shibuya one night after eating, and it was everyone was steaming.
So like, I do follow the Shibuya Meltdown.
Yeah,
Twitter account, and the Twitter account is basically just. What is the Twitter account, Matt? Just people in distress because of alcohol in Shibuya.
It's just people either broken or asleep in Shibuya. Like, it's fucking wonderful. I didn't see any meltdowns. Then it wasn't out that late, except for the night I went to Mogger with Ace, and then we were out till 5 a.m. because that's when the trains start again. So everyone just goes, let's just keep drinking and dancing until the trains come back.
Well, how long are the clubs open?
From 11 to 5, if not earlier. At least the ones I saw.
The clubs are open until 5 a.m.
Because that's when the trains start and everyone goes home. Because if you leave the club at 2 a.m, you can't get a train, you're fucked. Yeah.
Sorry, I've just seen something that looks like it is the start of a pornography. It is, in fact, Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson in the woods at an outhouse.
Yeah.
Oh, but that probably won't lead to funny memes, so I'm not for it.
So in terms of like places opening and closing, it was fairly regimented. It's like everything reasonable closes at 11 o'clock so everyone can go home because the trains stop at 12 and start again at 5 around that. They stop at 12 to 1. So there is just this like whole thing of they designed it. Actually designed the public transport system to work around opening and close times as opposed to them being random as fuck. It's like here, you know what happens here whenever it's closing time? Everyone gets thrown out of the bar at 1 o'clock. There's not a fucking bus in sight. There's not a train in sight.
No.
Which means it's taxi time or very long walks. That's it. And it's dysfunctional. Like, it's fucked. It doesn't work. It wrecks the place because everyone's fired out at 1 o'clock and is listless.
Or even, I wonder what the difference between middle of Belfast... Okay, it's the same in all of your cities. Yeah. You know the McDonald's that's, like, in town and open late? And at 2 a.m, there's just this, like, 20 to 30 meter radius of rubbish everywhere.
Yeah.
I have a feeling the McDonald's in Japan's not going to be like that.
It wasn't.
Yeah, the idea of there being a clean McDonald's is insane to me.
Yeah, it wasn't like.
Damn.
It was clean and it was tasty too.
Having lovely, pristine chicken Legend. Happy.
Tasty too. I had the like a fucking what was it? It was some event there and some like samurai burgers, like dark double soy, some I don't know what the fuck it was. But I had that and something else and another thing. And then I had McDonald's when I came home and the difference is fucking night and day. Very mad. Very maddening. But yeah, the place is fucking spotless. All the time. And open late. And it works. And everything just kind of worked. And I was like, fuck, they've designed this.
Yeah.
And what's the cost? The cost is that they're all supremely regimented. And whenever you hand over your card to like anything for them to put it in the machine, and then they, get you to put in their PIN, they don't stare at you while you put in the PIN. They don't like turn away a wee bit. They lift a fucking thing and look away so you can be sure that they're not looking at your PIN.
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
They lift the tray and like block their line of sight to the fucking card machine. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And then when they hand you stuff, they don't go, there you go, dickhead. They actually literally do. That is not a fucking meme. They hand you things fucking bowed over with 2 hands.
The way that we do the shop is, maybe the cashier will acknowledge your existence.
Yeah.
And then like cash or card. And then, you say card, and then they look at the card machine, and the card machine's get ready to beep, then you just go, beep.
Yeah.
Cheers. And then you leave.
Yeah. Dude, it's fucking ridiculous. Like, it is so... Like, there's a reason I'm, like, brain damaged, because it's so unbelievably alien to me how everything is done. And even, like, going to...
You're ready for World of Warcraft, the final Titan. I know what side you're going to choose.
Yeah. Like, going to... what was it? A Go-Go Curry. And you put your money in the machine, and you tap what you want from the machine. It gives you a ticket. You sit down, you give the ticket to the fella in front of you or the woman in front of you, whatever, and then they tear the ticket, give you 1/2 back, and then within 35 seconds to 2 minutes, your curry's in front of you. And they barely say a word to you. Maybe it'll just be like a welcome in, basically. That'll be it. And then you'll eat your food, and then you've already paid. So all you do is fucking get up and go away. And you have like pretty decent food. I mean, it's not great. Like it is. They have a big pot of curry going, and they've had that pot of curry going for 10 years. So it's decently tasty. Like, and they're
10 years review decent.
Yeah.
What do I have to do, Matt?
And they're just like constantly cycling. Just here's just a massive rice cooker full of rice, constantly cycling it, right? And obviously like meat's like just freshly fried stuff, and it's good. But you're in and out of there in 12 minutes.
Whoa.
And you don't have to say a word to anyone, because it's inefficient if someone says, what would you like to eat? And you go, actually have that. That's inefficient. That's too inefficient for them. They're like, fucking press the button before you sit down, dickhead. And you do that, and everyone's out in 4 seconds. I just go your entire life without saying a word to anyone beyond scripted interactions, because everyone is just a fucking robot. Like, You could replace everyone with robots and barely notice, is what it feels like. And that's really wild.
I suppose to like, yeah, there's over here, everyone's some sort of very dysfunctional character.
Yeah, yeah.
We would say, oh, he's a character. So that's, you know, we wouldn't be like, oh yes, Uncle fucking Bill has a drink problem. No, it's Uncle Bill's a character.
Yeah. They seem to exile their characters. It's like heaven for an introvert. It very much felt that way. It felt I can see how... If
you want to sort of Mr. Robot it up, it's probably a good place to do it.
I can see how the country has a profound loneliness epidemic, and that's why they all play Blue Archive to get affection from fake girls on their telephone, and why they go to go to maid cafes.
Oof! Yeah.
I can't fucking talk. I have Blue Archive installed, but like,
oof!
Yeah, like, or go to maid cafes and like you'll give them money and they'll talk to you, and like you spend like, okay, well here's give us like 20 quid for like an hour and then just sit here and talk to us.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you'd always think it's just the man. But...
Oh, no, it's not.
Yeah, that's what's different.
Yeah.
I remember, I think it was Vice. It was like Vice, but, you know, when they were just like, we're just going to send some bastard to somewhere with a camera and they'll do content. And, yeah, it was like they went to a hostess bar and a host bar. And it's like, yeah, because you're not used to the idea of, like... I guess, I don't know, like the strip club, but the other way around. Not that a host or hostess bar is a strip club, but like, yeah.
Officially, no.
Yeah, because just here's someone who's like 19, doesn't drink, and she's just buying so many things for this host and hanging out with the host. They're like, here's a host arriving in his Lambo.
It's fucked up.
And you're just like, what? What's going on? Imagine like your job is just, I get paid to have people drink with me.
Yeah.
P.S. I drink every single day. Please help. I need to escape. Yeah, it's very interesting.
It's like, that's what I
guess that's why a lot of content in Japan like does so well on the internet though, because you know, it's very, very different. I mean, yes, Tokyo, New York, very different. Tokyo, London, very different. You know, New York being like, people will walk through you.
Yeah, they'll go out of the way not to walk through here. It's like the place is so. Like Arkham obviously was like small hobbyist shops too, but it's so fucking small, like so unbelievably small. Like I felt cramped. And I'm 5'6", like I'm not tall.
Yeah, like why did this building fall over? Because a Western man rotated 90 degrees.
yeah, it's like these aisles between stacked glass display cabinets of expensive figures. This was made for two Japanese people to walk past each other. Which means me and my friend Carrie, he's not quite as big as I am. But he's fairly broad, like. And put the two of us in the room and no one's fucking moving. Like, it was dire. Just, we could get past each other barely, but you put anybody else the fucking ass. No, you're just fucked. Like, you're just fucked. It's such a tiny place. All the fire escapes as well. It's all fire escapes.
Oh yeah, that was weird.
It's like I was saying, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go up to the shop, and it's just climb the stairs, climb the fire escape. You're like, fuck, okay. Like, that's fine, but Jesus Christ.
The space premium is fascinating. I guess the super extreme version of that's whenever you look at, like, Hong Kong apartments, because they don't have... I actually remember hearing something that it's not even necessarily that they don't have the land, but there's some stuff about the ownership of land and some stuff with the state and, like, permits or whatever in Hong Kong. That means, like, there probably is land they could build on, but they can't for some reason. But I also could be misremembering it from because it's years ago. We do actually have, potentially to finish the show off, Matt, this is shocking. We do have, folks, 3 pieces of just dropped World of Warcraft news.
Unbelievable.
I
literally
Matt,
don't believe you.
Are you ready for part 1?
I am not ready, but hit me anyway.
Dragon riding mount speed outside of the Dragon Isles.
It's up to 100% again?
No.
What?
It's increased by 25%.
What?
Which means it was 80%. No, fuck, that's wrong.
What?
It hasn't increased by 25%. It went from 80% to 85%. So in my head, I went, yeah, the difference between 80 and 100 is 20. And 5% is a quarter of 20. Therefore, it's increased by 25%. What is going on in my brain? So there you go. Our mounts, slightly faster in the old world. Number 2. Piece of news number 2. Azerothian Archives, now available for testing, including the public scenario, The Big Dig, Traitor's Rest. The Big Dig.
Cool.
Get some archaeology. And, Matt, Night Elf news.
No.
Many Night Elves are now starting to arrive in Balameth and Bellular Harbour to settle into their new homes. In addition to these new hubs, explore other areas across the island to find new Night Elf cosmetic treasures.
Nice.
There you go. 3 bits of news. Bam!
Yeah.
We didn't talk about the Night Elf stuff.
Yeah, I haven't looked at Balameth at all.
Balameth is basically the best way they could have done this because they have clear transport network connections to all of the other main Night Elf holdings, including they have ones in Val Shara, ones to Hyjal. Basically, what's left is the places that are busted. Sorry, what isn't there? So you can't go... Well, no, you can go to Darkshore because there's a mage holding a portal up, but you can't go to Astronar. The only way you can go to Astronar in Modern WoW is to play Warcraft Rumble.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry. So, I just thought it was cool because it made it really clear that these are active parts of Night Elfdom. You can just, take a little portal. You're now in Feathermoon Stronghold. Cool. And, it's small, and in some ways you'd be like, well, it literally doesn't matter. I'm like, yeah, I know it literally doesn't matter. And it's just, they were like, I know, I'll put a portal here and a portal here, and then the players will infer that we haven't messed up the lore. And it's like, yeah, it turns out that's actually all you need to do. All you need to do is just convey the information, and then the way that they've actually kind of done up the place, it's really nice. It's a really nice city.
From what I've seen,
it's got a harbor that looks just like the old harbor. That's clearly them being like, we know, you know. There you go. Night Elves. I can't believe first stream back with Matt, we forgot to get him triggered about Night Elves.
That's because I'm now untriggerable because I enjoyed the 10-2 story just enough, and I'm like, it's fine.
There you go.
And they've got a wee place, and it's a nice wee place, and the murder cell's all nice. It'll do. It could have been substantially different, and it could have been substantially better, but it couldn't have been, because if it could have been, it would have been. And it wasn't. So we got what we got.
Dude.
And what we've got is pretty tasty.
Luke just purchased a Pepsi Max 24 pack
for $6.75
for £6.70 in Amazon.
I also have Discord open. Some boy like.
Oh my god. We can become a modern office with perks at this rate.
Fucking unbelievable. Yeah, I wonder why is it called Balameth?
I'm sure that in the patch 11.1 cinematic, Alex Strass will tell us why.
Yeah, but why is it sound like Belfast?
Who?
Belfast. You know where we live, mate?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Why are they making everything Irish? Because now it's Balameth, and then we're going to Donegal. Or we're going to Donegal. Fucking next expansion.
God. Yeah, World of Warcraft is turning into, if you live in Belfast and are anywhere near any of the Donegal streets, roads, passes, etc., you're just going to feel like you're having a stroke.
Yeah.
The Donegal thing is really funny.
Yeah.
I was like, it's just over there.
Yeah. Yeah, I know it means Arms of the Goddess,
that's
but...
north, and then... Yeah, that's roughly...
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, it's just fucking...
I meant the county, not the road.
Aye.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's because that's north.
Yes,
and it's that way.
Yeah. I can't believe it, Matt. North is currently east. Madness.
Yeah, that's how the fucking
directions.
Jesus Christ! Don't think about that too hard. Oh my God! It's almost as if the cardinal directions are cardinal. Oh Jesus!
Ruined you. Yeah.
Jesus, Lord save us.
Lots of little Irish things. Mm-hmm. You know, it's funny because there was some content. I hate the word content. There was historical videos by somebody who does like a lot of Welsh stuff, which obviously Blizzard, gaming taps into Welsh quite a lot. Hello there, Elden Ring. And it was just, it was going over Avalon. I was about to say St. Patrick. No, I meant King Arthur.
Fucking.
And it does just have you thinking about Avalorn and WoW and, you know, what will they do? And then, you know, with Ireland, you think of Bellular. There is a Bellular that exists in WoW. It was from Warcraft 2.
Yep.
But also, Warcraft 2, I think it has a multiplayer map that's like a big beetle.
Yeah, it does.
It's just a continent-sized beetle.
Kind of cool, like.
Yeah, I put it in a video of like, here's the places in Azeroth we haven't been to.
I'll tell you, like.
And it is just a big beetle. No, I didn't want to say beetle man. I meant beetle map. Yes. Oh no, Matt. It's called Beetle Island.
Of course.
Does it have any? Yes. In a remote kingdom, the battle between orcs and humans took place atop a huge creature created from eldritch energies unleashed by Medivh during the Dark Portal. A giant carnivorous beetle roamed the lands of Azeroth, destroying ancient forests to satisfy its voracious appetite and crushing all in its path. The beetle became a menace to both the noble armies of the Seven Kingdoms and the savage green-skinned invaders. Woo. In an awesome display of sorcery, the likes of which have not been seen to this day, the creature was polymorphed by mages, just as the orcish Death Knights unleashed a giant barrage of death spells. The result of the death and transformation of the beast is what we now know as Beetle Island.
That's sick as fuck, like. I actually love that one. It's like loads of magic happened and shit went mad. I always like that.
And it's like, if you want an artistic representation of Beetle Island, and you know what this giant eldritch creature looked like, surprisingly enough, green fields and some cliffs.
Nice. Well, that's very good death magic. Grew nice and green like.
Yeah. Dear, so in terms of things, right, here is the crack with stuff. We are planning across both of our channels what our sort of Christmas content will be. And it's the sort of thing, there's a lot of stuff that works for Christmas content. I mean, for like primarily, you know, Ghosts and everything. We'll keep the channels, you know, going over the break, of course, as well. But yeah, so we're planning that out. We are going to be moving as fast as is humanly possible on some fixes for the user onboarding experience in Ghost. Vinyls, our test prints have arrived for the vinyls. James has, confirmed via doing listening that all the vinyls are sounding right. The mass production of our Pale Beyond vinyls has now started, and that should be pretty quick. As in, we've had to do a whole bunch of stuff for the law firm that everything goes to when it's imported into the UK, basically Brexit forms. Because apparently as soon as your thing is in the form of a pallet, now you have new things you need to do.
Ah, that sucks.
So, yes, that's what's going on there. We've got Ghost onboarding experience stuff that we want to fix up, as well as URL.
Yep.
So that our URL can be good. And, just getting everybody over onto the member server and other such things. So that's a lot of what next week is. I don't really want to say like too much publicly, but for next game, really good progress. I'm very happy with what we are showing off to various people, in the industry now. And like full production has not started yet. It's like in the pre-production phase because we want to get things right before we start spending somebody else's money to make the damn thing, which is what you should do if you're in game development. Pre-production, very important.
Sorry, spending other people's money right is what you should do in game development. You're never going to fucking make it, dude. Never make
Crazy,
it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're supposed to get as much money as humanly possible.
Immediately, and then immediately enter full production with no plan.
No, you're supposed to get as much money as humanly possible with low interest by other companies. And then, as soon as number slightly goes down, you fire everyone.
And then you cut through the bone to get the marrow.
Exactly, yeah.
See, that's the problem. You know your man from Bungie, who was just, who was talking about the Activision guy being like, ha ha ha, the foie gras. Of basically he was saying like, no, the golden goose are your developers, protect the golden goose. And then the Activision guy's like, yeah, but what about the foie gras?
Yeah.
Now that guy probably didn't realize like, yeah, there's the foie gras, but you can also like crack all the bones, suck the marrow.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah, Activision, you can go even harder. No, it's actually been sad, seeing all of the companies' assets that Embracer Group have bought, and they're just cutting them all. Like the Insurgency team's gone. You're like Insurgency Sandstorm and Insurgency 2, like those were good games, seemingly successful games, and it's like nope. Your project is not a certain win, and it hasn't came out yet. You're gone.
No, it's not even sad anymore. It's frustrating. It's infuriating more than anything else at this point. It's genuinely like fucking tilting to see it happen. You're like, sweet, look at that.
I think that's also why the Game Awards. It's,
People
it does
fucking furious,
end up
like,
coming across as tone death whenever you're not acknowledging reality.
Yeah, compared to was it the Golden Globes? Ben Starr, who was the voice actor for Clive in FF16, who's been basically fucking half industry darling at this point because he says what the fuck he wants and no one stops him. And someone's like, is like, has this been a good year or has it been like a great year for games or something? And he immediately goes, honestly, if we're being serious about it, says basically, yeah, they're great for great games out this year, but and then just like on camera and Mike as this like huge personality, kind of like by virtue of who he is, representing Square Enix and representing the Final Fantasy franchise in a way.
And is just Jeff Keighley in the background, just like calibrating the sight in a sniper rifle to kill him.
Yeah, and he's just sat there. He's just there talking. He's like, no, well, like with all the layoffs, it's clearly like the people who are making the games that we're celebrating here aren't here to celebrate with us because they're in an unemployment line and something needs to change.
Keighley's just like, no, you are bringing reality into my carefully scripted corporate event.
It's like he said something to that time at like the in the Gold Globes, and you're like, yeah, that's the vibe everyone's fucking thinking. Everyone's thinking that, but no one or not many people are allowed to say it. Because there's just no, this industry is fucking failing. Something about this isn't working when we're getting the best games we ever have, yet people are getting laid off seemingly faster.
Well, it's just companies making stupidly expensive live service games that suck. Everything predicated off, yes, do you know what's going to happen? Everyone is being, what's it called? I want to get the proper word, but, screw the proper word. Everyone has become, totally desensitized to buying skins and games and stuff like that. And all these companies are like, why is our cash shop not making enough money?
Yeah.
And people are like, because it's all shite. Because it's a load of bollocks. We've all realized it's a load of bollocks. That's why people aren't buying stuff. There's Bungie like, oh no, we're 45% down on our target revenue. You're like, yes, Bungie, because it's a load of bollocks.
Yeah, it's fucker. It's all just made up nonsense. Like,
yeah,
the numbers is like the made up fucking numbers in my brain weren't accurate. You're fired. Like, hello, what the fuck's going on? It's a horrible place to be in whenever you're sad. They're like, video games are fucking sick and no one's getting rewarded for making them. Cool. How's that pan out?
Yeah.
What does that mean for the next generation of games? They're all going to be shit made by new people who don't know how to make games because all the people who knew how to make games are working in tech or
and all the people who would train up the new people to make games good.
Yeah.
I guess that's the thing. It's like the virtuous cycle of, I guess, the future's like mentors are just going to go to other industries because it's not worth it being here. That's the sad bit.
Yeah, it's not like...
Yeah.
The only reason you'd be here is passion, and passion only gets you through your fucking 20s. Basically. For a lot of people, I know, like...
I mean, true. Brutal statement and true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that's why quite a lot of companies do enjoy the lovely, practice of, is this person in their 20s or early 30s? Fresh meat.
Yeah. Yeah, we can abuse them and then fucking fire them somewhere else when they're done. Into the retirement home at like 35 where you go somewhere it's like half reasonable. Maybe. Fucking dire. Fucking dire straits, but...
Oh!
This video game's good.
Interesting. Magic Mushroom, which is the OTK publisher, has just announced their first game with Atomic Picnic. Atomic Picnic is a 4-player co-op roguelite shooter where you slay monsters and upgrade powerful weapons. There you go. The OTK empire expands.
Nice. Very good.
Yeah, I mean, hey, that's good to see.
Yeah.
I know with like them and, like the Donkey stuff, they all, a lot of the traditional industry just kind of rolled their eyes like, oh, look at these new media people coming in and trying to publish games. Like, no, that's good. So it's actually really good, by the way. Yeah, very cool. Very, very cool indeed. Right. So, in terms of things, that's what we're doing next week. One other thing we'll do is try to plan out some segments and stuff, see what's up. We don't really know if Blizzard will be as late as they were in publishing the new roadmap. I almost would expect, though, to see the 2024 roadmap by the end of the year. They have, I think, wanted to give us a nice Christmas surprise.
Yeah, it's either this week or next, like, for sure.
So I think that, we'll have some pretty cool stuff to talk about with that. I think we should probably do our Dragonflight review next week, actually. Because you know what I think is interesting? If you just get a character, play Dragonflight in the right order, in its totality, ain't half bad.
It's really not. Like,
it's just the problem of when you're playing it and it's all kind of fragmented and confusing, which I've certainly noticed people being like, how do I get the tier quest? What? Help, I'm confused. I think I've met the requirements, but I don't have the quest. There's just been a lot of that I've noticed with people, just sort of general confusion. But actually, even I was doing the the previous tier quest where the one with Eternus, and you're in the little time loop scenario with her sister.
Yeah,
that's a nice little quest. It's fun doing a little time shenanigan as people learn the lessons. Like, good.
Yeah,
you crafted a little 10-minute long experience there, and it was nice.
Just don't think about the lesson.
What was the lesson again?
The lesson was that Nosdormu suddenly had a change of heart for no reason and became Murzon, but it wasn't handled correctly at all.
And that's one of those things of bit of content assigned to quest designers to make in the game. You're like, that's a good little quest.
Yeah.
But this expansion, yes, being a bit fractured and confused. But I suppose in a world where these things are, lessons that they learn from, and we kind of have Metzen, leading that overall direction.
Yeah.
That does make me feel significantly better. And I wonder if the news story behind me saying that will come out or when.
Who knows?
I wonder.
Who knows?
I wonder. But yes, there you go. It's for other stuff. I wish I took a picture of it. We've got the other room in our office set up as a banquet.
Oh yeah, we fucking banquet table whole office just table.
It's both more culturally fun, and also we've been able to do our office party for like 350 quid.
Nice, that's not bad.
We've got a bunch of sort of like potlucking people bringing food. We've got some ducks from a local place that does ducks. We just James went in like, hello, I'm here for 3 ducks that we booked, and we have 3 smoked tasty ducks.
Tasty gear, like.
Yeah, they are in fact in the fridge right now, man.
We could, like.
we could. Everyone turns up for the office party. No, Michael and Matt have eaten 3 ducks.
We could. I'm fucking starving. I haven't eaten today. Like,
they've got the bar.
Yeah.
Power of the Tesco club card, my man.
Ooh.
So I think the bar cost us, it was 100 or something.
Fuck.
But the Tesco club card savings on everything needed for the bar, 60 quid.
Club card base.
Club card base.
Access to prices before hell opened up.
Yes, by the way, that's the Tesco club card is. It's your pre-inflation swipe.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I might go there and try to use my club card to get some pre-inflation snacks.
Fuck, I'd love to get
because thankfully... Oh yes, that's the fun thing. I'm going to be a little bit naughty with food this weekend because I will soon be starting on Concerta XL for the old ADHD, which will reduce my appetite. So now I'm just kind of like, all right, last hurrah, let's go.
Concerta XL.
Concerta.
Is that XL or XL?
No, XL.
Extra large.
Yeah, it's the suppository version. That's
very good. Very good.
Because it should be like extended release. I don't know why it's XL. Madness. It would be Elvans, but as anybody with ADHD knows, Elvans/Vivans currently has a global supply shortage. All the people are like, yeah, this is kind of what I use, means I can do my job. They're like, none of those for 2 months.
Sad.
Very broke.
Imagine relying on government supply lines to stay alive. Sad.
That's it.
He says, in a country full of electricity and water. It's not worried about that.
I don't think our water's half bad either.
Ah, sad.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Oh, dearie me. So
Japan water. It was so much better.
Oh,
Everything.
Of course. Oh, speaking of Japan,
literally everything is better.
Godzilla -1.
Oh yeah, I want to watch this shit.
Is apparently really good, and not just like Shin, where in many ways Shin Godzilla is objectively shit.
Yeah,
like its characters, it's all of that. It's just that it does look kind of cool, music's great, and it's a really good take on Godzilla. But no, Godzilla -1 is like full on very high reviews, because you can see that like Shin had good, real good reviews, and but a 6.8 on IMDb. We're now seeing, I think it's like high 8s, and very positive across the board reviews for Godzilla -1. And that's like a Toho Godzilla.
Yeah.
So that's
I heard
that's interesting.
Someone I follow on Twitter saying it's like one of the fucking best movies of the year.
Let's go.
If not like the best Godzilla I've ever seen. I'm like, let's fucking go. That's good as fuck.
Please tell me they have it in IMAX.
That's good as fuck.
Because that could be a fun trip. Matt.
Goes to IMAX?
It is being played on Saturday, the 16th of December in Cineworld IMAX. Want to go?
I might be able to.
Because I feel like IMAX would be pretty satisfying for a Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
God, IMAX Oppenheimer was it was such an experience. Oh, so good.
Yeah, I might have to go home, but I'm pretty sure I should be able to make it. Oh yeah, it's about the Christmas. I can just go home later. Yeah, that's fine.
Here's a Reddit post. This movie was filmed with IMAX certified cameras.
Nice.
They have said that it is their second favorite IMAX watch this year. Oh, good.
Nice.
Big. All right.
Nice.
Do you want to go and access some pre-inflation prices on our Tesco Club cards?
Absolutely.
Great. We will plan out a schedule for what we're doing, when we're coming back, because I think it's 2 weeks until the year's closed off. Yeah. I've got a very cool document to send to some people after stream.
Nice.
And in the new year,
oh my god, Tevi's out. Fuck, Aaron.
believe we should be able to talk about that, Tevi.
Yeah, the next game from the Rabbi Ribby devs. Fuck, thank you for reminding me. Holy shit. I have to play Wordless as well. And I bought the fucking Johanna game. Fucking.
He's been video games. He's been video. Now, here I am. It's like, I'm going to try to hit 20 renown and play an Ubisoft game. Right now, I'm in NPC mode, and I'm afraid Matt is in based mode.
I have so much anime to watch as well.
Hang on, does that anime girl have horns?
Right?
Are those horns?
Where's the horns, yeah?
What?
Yeah.
This is a game where people have... Is this an anime where people have horns?
So, I'm glad you asked, Michael. I'm glad you asked. No, so...
Are there any big blue women? Which, of
no.
course, are the main selling point of World of Warcraft.
No, so... For those unfamiliar, it's shilling time. So I'm a big fan of the genre of cute girls doing cute things, and that extends to idol anime, right? Because
I've just received a notification that the FBI are on their way. I don't know why the FBI are doing internal Northern Irish policing, but there you go.
I know either, and just they're fucking never like. So anyway, Love Live is a series about 9 girls who become friends and become idols together.
What is an idol?
Idol is basically a singing, dancing, famous, happy.
Rhythm game characters.
Can be. But yeah, so Love Live is the story of these 9 girls. There's multiple seasons. There's like Sunshine, which is Aquars. There's the original, which is Muse. There's the Nijigasaki girls. There's the other one that I don't remember. They're the yellow ones. But anyway, first season, great. Love Live, excellent. Was like one of the... it came well after Idolmaster, but it was definitely one of like the big idol things. People love it. Then the second season, Sunshine, had the second cast, and that's this cast. But the point is, where's she at? Yoshiko she calls herself Yohane because she's like chuny as fuck, and she pretends to be this witch Yohane and this fucking creature of darkness, etc. All that chuny shit. So what they went is they finished Sunshine and had multiple seasons and moved on. Then went, that Yohane stuff is kind of cool, with the fact that she's this fucking chuny persona. Can we go any further with that? And then many years later, Project Yohane came about, which of course resulted in an anime series, Genjutsu no Yohane the Parhelion, which also is a play on Genjutsu meaning illusion, not literally Parhelion, because Parhelion is a sun reflection thing, doesn't make no sense. And it's called that Sunshine in the Mirror. And it's basically an altered reality where it's kind of similar in conception to the original Sunshine series, but it's set in a fantasy world.
Ah, it's the horns.
Yeah.
We got there, boys.
And it's set in like this city, and they have this whole like tie-in with Numazu City, which is like this place is all tourist money and stuff. And like I have a magazine that's like half go here in Numazu for cool shit, which I will do next time in Japan. But it also it's very good. I've watched like half it so far. It's very good. But the other part is that it has a video game by Indie Crits, the people who made Mighty Number 9 and Gunvolt.
What?
So there's a Metroidvania, which is a companion to the anime.
But Mighty Number 9.
Yeah. It fucking sucks. It's shit. It's terrible. It's not that bad. It's just not great.
Is it still Kenji and
KG and Afne? I don't know if he's still there or not. I think he's fucked off. But it is actually, I have one of the artworks from Sunshine Mirror. It is fucking, the world design is exceptional because it blends like this actual city with fantasy stuff really well. And it's really nice. All the music in it is fucking excellent. They sing super well. It's a very sentimental show, which is exactly up my alley. Fucking wonderful. And then there's also another game. I realized there's a second fucking game coming out because he just went, do whatever you want. There's a deck builder roguelike coming out in like fucking February and the same thing. So yeah, there is my spiel about the shirt I'm currently wearing.
There we go.
Yeah, it's very good.
This is a jumper.
Yeah.
Doesn't have a story other than it's an Irish fishing man's jumper.
Yeah, I just wear anime shirts now because I bought that fucking many over there. Because Cospa's clothes is actually really fucking nice and they fit super well, like a medium. Because I tend to wear like small or medium here, so I just wear a medium from over there, and it's basically perfect. And they're fucking great. And to get one here, including import and shit, you're looking like 60, 70 quid. So you go there and you get one for 30 quid. You're like, sweet, nice, and they're fucking gorgeous.
Damn.
They're fucking gorgeous and I love them.
I was happy I got.
Very happy.
I got a Huel t-shirt. 75% off.
I have
the Huel wear shit is actually great. I got 2 pairs of jeans that are definitely worth a lot more than 19 quid. Because they were 75% off. Probably worth 50% off. But there is all that they say is tech bro. Whereas I suppose Matt's t-shirt says something, based or
They say a lot of things. Let's say that. They say a lot of things, and some of them aren't very nice.
Oh, damn.
But I don't give a fuck because my lifelong ambition has been to be muscular and wear anime shirts. And I'm getting there. So.
That is a whole genre of man.
Yeah. I'm like, genre. I will be that. That will be me.
Damn.
Yeah.
He's finally reached his power level. Now he must complete his task to kill every anime YouTuber.
Yep. No problem. That'll be easy. That'll be very easy.
Shall we go and beat inflation?
We shall go and beat inflation.
Fantastic.
I don't know what inflation. No.
Yeah, I might sound suspicious. We will be back with a show that is planned that either has news, and if there isn't news, there'll be segments.
Yes, we'll have content or something.
Oh, we could do tier lists. We could pull a Max, and we could do tier lists. That would be fun. Actually, I actually really enjoy his tier lists. Because from such a different perspective. I've been really enjoying Legend of Total War's tier lists, purely because I just get to sit there and be like, historical Total War games are good.
Yeah.
I really did turn up that light. I look
you're
ever so slightly more white than last time.
Yeah, I would if any part of my face was visible behind my beard and glasses. I'm just fucking hiding myself.
He is just going to be a hairy muscle with 2 eyes.
All I need now is
final form.
Way longer bangs. And I'm like, yeah, getting there.
Dang. Right.
Fuck.
Good night. Good weekend. There will be content on the news channel. There should be content on the Warcraft channel. Good lore content. And as a final video, watch something published today because no one else has. And it's actually interesting. Because line go in good direction, and that means we can be happy. For the longest time doing the numbers analysis videos, it has all just been like, oh no. Now it is, oh shit. Like, actually, some of our trends and completion rate stuff, they're like back to where they were in Legion. It's good shit. So now that I've done my spiel of watching a video that I think's really good. Yeah.
To also show, Lore Walking Shaman went up today.
It finally happened.
Yes.
Damn.
And do you know what's going up tomorrow? Lore Walking, the World Soul Saga.
Oh my god. A double?
Yeah, a double. A double. There would have been something else, but Jared has lung explodey, so.
Oh, he got the lung. He had lung explodey before.
Yeah.
He's got re-lung explodey.
Yeah, so hopefully he can make it to the party tomorrow. If he can't, that would suck.
We will have to take the buckfast that otherwise would be allocated to him and then drink it in his honor.
Yeah, yeah.
I really hope you can mull buckfast because that would be quite tasty.
I mean, you could try, like, yeah, give it a go.
Because I know that there are 2 Christmas dinners I'm going to have. This one and one with my family. And I definitely cannot start the one with my family with a bunch of buckfast. That would not be appropriate.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, because I've opted to be the chaperone for our 2 visitors tomorrow.
Yes.
So I might actually just go get them blocked at like 12 o'clock.
Yeah, I love how you're just like, so, I have to take care of them. I'll have to be responsible. Nope.
Yeah.
Oh, very good.
Straight up just get them fucking right by like 2:30. I'll be flying.
Wow. Well, have fun.
Yeah.
I'm going to manically try to solve some problems and stuff. Yeah, no, I'm getting there. And funny, as Matt is in Japan, Kaizen, and the implementation of it is essentially my goal. I'm trying to free myself to be in more of a directorial and leadership position so that I can actually make us better for you and better for us.
Oh yes, on that I have a proposal for how to handle exclusive members content.
Oh,
which I will need to share with everyone next week. It'll be fun.
I got really excited there. I was like, what was Matt's proposal?
Yeah.
How about we beat inflation and you tell me what the proposal is?
Yep, sounds good.
Fantastic.
Sounds good.
Now, unfortunately, we're only going to be beating inflation for ourselves because of our Tesco Club card. If you want to beat inflation, I don't know, get a Tesco Club card. Go to Costco and get those dollar hot dogs. Is the Costco hot dog still $1?
I think it is because the guy did not say he would kill.
Yeah, it's like over my dead body.
Yeah. Yeah. So, no, we're not sponsored by Tesco, but if Tesco does want to sponsor us, there you are on stream. I have now shown you, so thank you.
Yes, and also Huel, right? I've been trying to convince Huel to spawn. Like this is like, come on. I think like Huel are trying to target like yuppies, which does totally make sense for what they do.
I saw multiple people wearing Huel t-shirts on my travels, and they looked exactly how you'd expect.
Yeah, but the thing that I'm thinking is like, dude, as a fucking capital G sweaty gamer, there are times where, because like this tastes way nicer. Sorry, I can't praise it yet because they're not paying. I think that this is competitive with other instant noodle products in the United Kingdom. And really, it makes sense for gamers. Tastes better than a pot noodle. Has all the nutrients that pot noodle doesn't have. So anyway, hopefully we can convince Huel to start sponsoring gamers.
Sounds pretty good, like yeah, sounds good.
Anyway,
yes, we should really stop delaying and actually fucking leave.
All right. So good night. Yes. And yes, Shaman's up World Soul tomorrow. Check out the numbers video over on this channel. So on this channel, then, not over this channel, because it is a good video and we go into some stuff. It's fun. Good night. All right. Good night.